Chapter 2606. People from Soaring Heaven Sect, tell me, what is going on here? Seeing Qin Wu Mian, who should have been killed, appear in front of Night Sorrow, Lu Qingyuan immediately questioned the people from Soaring Heaven Sect. Hearing this, the people from the other sects also locked their eyes on Soaring Heaven Sect. This matter was very strange and they also wanted to hear Soaring Heaven Sect's explanation. We don't know. Maybe Qin Wu Mian is plotting something. He pretended to be eliminated while remaining in the immortal cloud-sealed world. This is a serious violation of the principles of my Soaring Heaven Sect and will be expelled from Soaring Heaven Sect from now on. Soaring Heaven Sect's leader, Mu Yu, had an indifferent look on his face. Bastard! Your Soaring Heaven Sect has 5 people participating in the competition, yet you were all inexplicably eliminated in 3 days. Isn't this the sect's arrangement? Lu Qingyuan roared and questioned. Speak! What is your Soaring Heaven Sect's purpose? Lu Qingyuan, don't slander us. My Soaring Heaven Sect has always been upright and upright. Even if there are some abnormalities, it is the disciples who broke the rules. It has nothing to do with the sect. Mu Yu said shamelessly before sneering. I advise you to pay attention to your Tianyun School's genius disciple, Night Sorrow. He and Qin Wu Mian encountered each other, so it should be very difficult for him to survive. My Tianyun School's people don't need your Soaring Heaven Sect to worry about them. Lu Qingyuan coldly snorted and continued to look at the image crystal. He was really worried about Night Sorrow's safety. After getting along with each other these days, everyone from Tianyun School, including him, had established a strong friendship with Night Sorrow. Before Qin Wu Mian betrayed the sect, he was ranked 10th among the 35 high gods. Although Night Sorrow defeated Meng Du, it was in the spirit array. Now that there is no spirit array, he will die without a doubt. Mu Yu coldly cursed. His words revealed his resentment towards Night Sorrow. Mu Yu, your Soaring Heaven Sect has already gone astray. I hope you can turn back, otherwise you will be completely annihilated. Lu Qingyuan said coldly as he recalled Night Sorrow mentioning Qin Yangzi and the extraterrestrial demon he carried with him. Although there was no evidence to prove that Soaring Heaven Sect had anything to do with heavenly demons, based on what they had seen so far, it was likely that things were as Night Sorrow had predicted. After thinking about it for a moment, Lu Qingyuan found the sect master of Tianqing Gate, Tan Qingfeng, and asked, Sect Master Tan, Soaring Heaven Sect's Qin Wu Mian has violated the rules by staying in the immortal cloud-sealed world, so he must have some ulterior motive. Is it possible to use the array to directly teleport him out? Although Qin Wu Mian has indeed violated the rules, we have no way of teleporting him out. Furthermore, we have actually lost contact with the inner world. Anything that happens will have to be handled by the geniuses in the mystic realm. Tan Qingfeng explained helplessly. With such a problem appearing before him, Yang Kai also realized that Soaring Heaven Sect might have a problem. However, the matter had not been exposed clearly, so no one had any evidence to accuse Soaring Heaven Sect. Sigh. In that case, I can only pray for everyone's good fortune. When Lu Qingyuan heard Tan Qingfeng's words, he knew that this matter could only be solved by Night Sorrow and the others. He sighed and could only lock his gaze on the image. The others from Tianyun School also did the same. They could not help at all, so they could only pray silently in their hearts. At the same time, Night Sorrow and Qin Wu Mian had already started fighting. At the beginning of the battle, the two of them had only exchanged blows to probe each other. Neither of them had used any real skills or secret techniques. In this kind of probing, Night Sorrow and Qin Wu Mian were almost evenly matched. Qin Wu Mian, who was very surprised, looked at Night Sorrow and said, I didn't expect you to have such combat strength after just breaking through to the High God realm. It seems that I will have to use some real methods. Only then will I be able to kill you. Merit God, you must die today. As he spoke, a trace of black qi appeared on Qin Wu Mian's face. He condensed his divine yuan qi and shouted, Starry Sky Secret Technique. In an instant, his strength increased by 5 to 6 times. You know that I am the Merit God, so no matter what you plan, it will be stopped. Facing Qin Wu Mian, Night Sorrow said coldly. At this moment, he could feel the thick aura of the extraterrestrial demon on Qin Wu Mian's body. This aura made him very uncomfortable. If you want to stop me, you will have to see if the black blood dragon scale spear in my hand agrees or not. Qin Wu Mian, who had the thick extraterrestrial demon aura, took out a pitch-black spear from his spatial artifact. This spear gave off an extremely evil feeling. Standing there, Knight Sorrow felt like he was being stared at by some kind of evil creature. He sneered and asked, "Is there an extraterrestrial demon sealed in your black blood dragon scale spear like Qing Yangzi's?" "Haha, you even know about this. Then what awaits you is only death." Qin Wumian's eyes gradually turned from black to scarlet. With a shout, he summoned the monarch god-level extraterrestrial demon in the black blood dragon scale spear. Whoosh! From the image crystal, everyone saw Qin Wumian summon the extraterrestrial demon. Everyone, including Tianqing Gate sect master, Tan Qingfeng, couldn't remain calm. The extraterrestrial demon was an evil species that the cultivators of the god world were extremely afraid of. Now that it had appeared in the 7th Sect Great Competition's trial grounds, the Immortal Cloud-sealed realm, they couldn't let Soaring Heaven sect sit still. Mu Yu, you have to explain to this sect leader what is going on. How can a disciple of your Soaring Heaven sect summon an extremely evil extraterrestrial demon? You and I both know how much damage extraterrestrial demons have caused to the god world. When Qin Wumian first appeared, Tan Qingfeng didn't say anything, but now he couldn't sit still. Now it seemed that Soaring Heaven sect had a big problem. It was very likely that they had betrayed the 7 Sect Alliance and colluded with the extraterrestrial demon. This is just Qin Wumian's personal action. It has nothing to do with my Soaring Heaven sect. Mu Yu continued to argue. He blamed Qin Wumian in his heart. He felt that he shouldn't have summoned the extraterrestrial demon in front of the image crystal. This was a complete insult to Soaring Heaven sect. Good. Very good. Mu Yu, your attitude has successfully angered this sect master. Tan Qingfeng coldly snorted and roared. Men, capture all the elders and disciples of Soaring Heaven sect. Yes, sect master. Hearing this, the people of Tianqing Gate, including Supreme Elder Fan Xianyun, immediately attacked the people of Soaring Heaven sect. Lu Qingyuan and the others of Tianyun School also joined in. The masters of the 6 sects worked together and quickly restrained the people of Soaring Heaven sect. The people of Soaring Heaven sect were very likely to have colluded with the extraterrestrial demon. This was a major matter that would incur public anger. Take them to the dungeon. This sect master will personally interrogate them. The appearance of extraterrestrial demons in the god world was a major matter. Tan Qingfeng couldn't remain calm. After capturing the people of Soaring Heaven sect, he sent someone to inform the Dark Moon ruler about the appearance of the extraterrestrial demon. As for the people of the other sects, they had already sent messages to their respective sects, explaining the matter of Soaring Heaven sect. Inside the Immortal Cloud-sealed world. Although Qin Wumian's strength wasn't comparable to a top genius like Meng Du, he still couldn't be underestimated. Chapter 2607. Ha ha ha. You're known as a master, but it turns out that you're only a Zo. Qin Wumian, who had the upper hand, kept swinging his black blood dragon Qilin spear to coordinate with the attacks of the heavenly demon. You even know this? It seems that your Soaring Heaven sect has many spies. Knight Sorrow's claim of being a master was only spread within the Tianyun school. Hearing Qin Wumian's words, he immediately understood that there were still spies in the Tianyun school. You'd better worry about your own life. As for spies, that's not something you should worry about. After today, your soul will be completely destroyed. Qin Wumian brandished his black blood dragon Qilin spear and continuously unleashed exquisite spear arts. In his opinion, with the cooperation of the heavenly demon, there was no doubt that he could defeat Knight Sorrow. If you want to take my life, just you and this heavenly demon are not enough. Knight Sorrow used the 33 Heavens secret art to increase his strength. He roared, Virtuous Dragon Lock Array. He used the Virtuous Dragon Lock Array to trap the heavenly demon and let it be roasted by the power of virtue. The power of virtue was the nemesis of all evil. As time passed, the heavenly demon, who couldn't break out of the array, gradually began to howl inside. The ear-piercing howl was very uncomfortable to listen to. Knight Sorrow had fallen into a passive state just now because he wanted to test his true strength. After testing it out, he found that if he didn't use the 33 Heavens secret art, he wouldn't be a match for Qin Wumian and the heavenly demon. Don't think that you're a match for me just because you've bound him. Qin Wumian, whose eyes were blood red, looked incomparably evil. He burned his blood essence to increase his strength again and used the heavenly demon exterminating palm, one of Soaring Heaven Sect's sect guarding skills. Heavenly Demon Exterminating Palm? I think you've already become a demon. You'd better kill yourself. Qin Wumian directly summoned the heavenly demon in front of the image crystal, which confused Night Sorrow. However, he didn't have time to think about this in the battle. He condensed his divine qi and used the Samsara Void Palm to clash with Qin Wumian. Boom! Their palms collided, shattering the surrounding void. At the same time, a loud sound reverberated through the immortal cloud's secret realm. Some of the demonic beasts within 10,000 miles were alarmed. A scarlet flame dire wolf at the half-step divine king realm howled at the sky, seemingly warning the two of them. Looks like I've underestimated you. Black blood dragon scale spear. Self-destruct. The result of the exchange was that Night Sorrow held the advantage. Qin Wumian, who had been sent flying, crazily detonated the black blood dragon scale spear. Facing the impact of the black blood dragon scale spear self-destruction, Night Sorrow performed the Void Extreme Shadow Body and quickly dodged into the void. Although he was hit by the explosion, he wasn't seriously injured. Why do I feel that this Qin Wumian is so strange? Could it be that the one controlling this body is no longer Qin Wumian himself? Judging from Qin Wumian's behavior, he was a traitor who had betrayed the god realm and colluded with the extraterrestrial demons. However, Night Sorrow observed him with the sea serpent's eye, and found that there was something wrong with his aura. As the battle progressed, his aura became more and more similar to that of the extraterrestrial demons. Combined with the fact that Qin Wumian had summoned the extraterrestrial demons in front of everyone, Night Sorrow guessed. Could it be that the extraterrestrial demons controlled him to frame Soaring Heaven Sect? But Soaring Heaven Sect's Qing Yongzi also has the extraterrestrial demons on him. This doesn't make sense. You dare to be distracted while fighting me? Die! Night Sorrow. Qin Wumian roared and madly charged at Night Sorrow. When he got close, he suddenly chose to self-destruct. What? You actually made such a crazy choice? Night Sorrow, who didn't expect Qin Wumian to self-destruct, was caught off guard and suffered serious injuries. After using the secret art of the 33 heavens, his strength wasn't inferior to Qin Wumian's. When Qin Wumian realized that he couldn't kill him, he chose to self-destruct. This was simply too crazy. Night Sorrow, the child you were fighting just now was completely taken over by the extraterrestrial demons. This is one of the evil tricks of the extraterrestrial demons. The Holly Divine King, who had witnessed the entire battle from inside his space artifact, sighed. The extraterrestrial demons were simply too evil. He hated them to the core. So that's how it is. It seems that my guess was right. The extraterrestrial demons controlled Qin Wumian and summoned the extraterrestrial demons in front of everyone. They definitely had a purpose. Night Sorrow agreed. In the Tianqing Gate Square, everyone was also very surprised when they saw Qin Wumian choose to self-destruct. In a battle, cultivators would never choose to self-destruct unless they were in a life-or-death situation. Just now, Qin Wumian was only at a slight disadvantage. The timing of his self-destruction was very strange. Many people fell into deep thought, trying to figure out the inside story. After defeating Qin Wumian, Night Sorrow, under the command of the Holly Divine King, continued to rush towards the sealed area of the Divine King-level extraterrestrial demon. Because the aura of the Divine King-level extraterrestrial demon was very close, it didn't take long for Night Sorrow to arrive at the sealed area with the Holly Divine King. This was a lake with a circumference of 10,000 miles. On top of the lake, lotus flowers were in full bloom. The scenery was very beautiful. The Divine King-level extraterrestrial demon was sealed under the lake by us. The formation we used to seal it is called the Thousand Lotus Heartlock Formation. Each of these lotus flowers before you is the core of the formation. The Holly Divine King, who walked out of the spatial artifact, had recovered his strength to that of a high god. His complexion was much better, and his white hair was gradually shining. Holly Divine King, how do we strengthen the seal? Night Sorrow asked directly. If the Divine King-level extraterrestrial demon was released, the consequences would be unimaginable. I need to recover my strength to that of a high god to be able to strengthen the seal, Shenqing explained. Then he continued, I see that this formation is stronger than expected. As long as no one destroys it, it can last for at least a few decades. These years are enough for me to recover my strength. You need that long? I can stay here for at most 20 days, or even less. Night Sorrow explained. If he didn't participate in the 7-sect tournament, it wouldn't be a problem for him to wait here. However, if the tournament ended or this area was shrouded in darkness, he would be teleported out of the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. In that case, he wouldn't be able to continue helping. It's okay. There shouldn't be any extraterrestrial demons in this secret realm anymore. You can do your own things in peace. Thank you very much for this matter, the Holy Divine King said to Night Sorrow. In his opinion, it was only a matter of time before he recovered his strength. At that time, he could strengthen the seal of the extraterrestrial demon. At this time, Night Sorrow said worriedly, Divine King, there are probably 4 other cultivators like that Qin Wumian just now. They are all threats. How about this? I will set up a trapping formation around the lake so that they can't come in. This way, the crisis will be easily solved. Chapter 2608. Alright. Let me see how good you are at setting up formations. The Holy Divine King nodded as he observed Night Sorrow setting up the formation. Sometimes he would nod in approval, but sometimes he would shake his head. After Night Sorrow finished setting up the trapping formation, the Holy Divine King smiled and said, Your formation is very detailed, but there are some places that could be better. For example, the Holy Divine King walked around the trapping formation with Night Sorrow and pointed out 7 or 8 imperfections. After his pointers, Night Sorrow was enlightened and said gratefully, Thank you, Divine King, for your pointers. You're welcome. The Holy Divine King smiled and took out a book from his spatial artifact. This is a formation diagram that I've kept for many years. There are a few Divine King level formations and 20 Divine Lord level formations in it. Take it as a reward for your kindness. Since it's a gift from the Divine King, Night Sorrow won't refuse. Yi Shan accepted the formation map without hesitation. Then, he used his power of virtue to disperse the dark aura around God King Holly's body. After dispersing the dark aura on the broken sword, the Holy Divine King's strength recovered by a small realm. Haha. The power of virtue is indeed very mysterious. If the divine realm had more cultivators like you, we wouldn't have to fear the extraterrestrial demons. The Holy Divine King praised with a smile. Several hundred cycles had passed, and he knew that things had changed, so he didn't ask Night Sorrow about the current situation in the divine realm. After setting up the trapping formation, Night Sorrow didn't leave immediately. Instead, he waited for 7 days. He didn't see Hua Yunmiao and the others, so he left and rejoined the 7-sect tournament. In the Tianqing Gate Square, the people who had been paying attention to Night Sorrow didn't see any other extraterrestrial demons, so they focused on the 7-sect tournament again. As for the interrogation of the Soaring Heaven Sect Elder, it was naturally the responsibility of the Tianqing Gate's Gate Master, Tan Qingfeng. It wasn't something they should worry about. At this time, the leading individual on the scoreboard was Tianxian School's Wu Li. During the days when Night Sorrow was busy, he crazily gained points and now had 90 points. The second place was Murong Kai-I from the Heavenly Immortal Sect with 72 points. The third place was Zhuang Yuha with 65 points. As for Night Sorrow, who still had 50 points, he was ranked 4th. In addition to the points obtained by Mu Qingyu and Yan Fengfei, Tianyun School had 102 points, temporarily ranking 2nd behind Tianxian School. More than 10 days after the 7-sect tournament began, more than 20 people had been eliminated. The remaining dozen or so, except for Night Sorrow, were all seeded contestants with high scores. The more time passed, the more the rankings fluctuated. Almost every expert's defeat would cause a change in the scoreboard. After leaving the Divine King's sealed place, Night Sorrow didn't see any cultivators after flying for about 2 days. On the 3rd day, he suddenly saw a distress signal from Tianxian School and immediately rushed over at full speed. In the stone forest where the signal was sent, Night Sorrow saw Murong Kai-I being besieged by Tianxian School's Wu Li and Wan Zhenhai. She was in a critical situation, covered in blood. She was suppressed and clenched the teleportation crystal in her hand. Senior Sister Kai-I, let me help you. Night Sorrow, who was hiding in the dark, didn't go forward immediately. Instead, he transmitted his voice to Murong Kai-I. At this time, Wu Li and Wan Zhenhai were focused on dealing with Murong Kai-I and didn't notice that Night Sorrow had arrived. Night Sorrow, you are here. Help me escape and I will give you the points. No matter what, I don't want to let those two off. Hearing Night Sorrow's transmission, Murong Kai-e, who was in despair, suddenly had a glimmer of hope in her heart. She had an inexplicable trust in Night Sorrow, even when facing Wu Li and Wan Zhenhai. How much battle strength do you have left? Can you fight against Wu Li alone? Night Sorrow, who was close to the scene of the incident, transmitted his voice to her. He wanted Murong Kai-e to delay Wu Li while he thought of a way to kill Wan Zhenhai. Wan Zhenhai was ranked around 10th. He was confident that he could win. I'm afraid I can't fight against him. Wu Li's strength is much stronger than mine. Murong Kai-e told the truth. Wu Li's strength was too strong for her. If I delay Wu Li, can you kill Wan Zhenhai as soon as possible? Night Sorrow continued to ask. He wasn't Wu Li's opponent. This was an indisputable fact. However, if he wanted to delay some time, there was still a way. As long as Wan Zhenhai was killed, he and Murong Kai-e might not be Wu Li's opponent. Under normal circumstances, I naturally have the ability to kill him quickly. However, I'm seriously injured now. I'm not so sure. Murong Kai-e sighed. She felt that she was holding him back. No matter. Then we will arrange it like this. You hold on for a while. I will arrange a formation. When the formation is finished, you will lead them into the trap formation. At that time, I will separate them and we will deal with them one by one. Night Sorrow said and asked, I need dozens of breaths of time to arrange the formation. Can Senior Sister Kai-e hold on? If I use the secret technique, I should be able to hold on. Murong Kai-e replied. When she was replying, Wan Zhenhai's sword slashed her shoulder. Blood flowed down her white defensive robe and directly flowed to the front of her chest. Senior Sister Kai-e, hold on for a while. I will finish the arrangement soon. As he spoke, Night Sorrow slowly set up the trapping formation that Divine King Holly Green had modified at the edge of the stone forest. After arranging the formation, Night Sorrow said, Senior Sister Kai-e, I have finished the arrangement. Let them hear. Night Sorrow. I'm afraid I can't do it. It was Murong Kai-e who responded to Yi Shang. Her voice was already very weak. I will help you. Hearing this, Night Sorrow didn't have the mood to wait around the trap formation. He immediately flew up and shouted, Wu Li, you little brat, give me your life. Wu Li, who originally wanted to smash Murong Kai-e's head, heard Night Sorrow's voice. He stopped and looked in the direction of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow. It's really you. This is really a case of wearing out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it without any effort. You made me look for you so hard. Seeing Night Sorrow come, Wu Li immediately shouted in a cold voice. His hatred for Yi Shang originated from his younger brother, Worryless, who had been killed. Really? In that case, let's fight. Night Sorrow saw that Wu Li and Wan Zhenhai stopped and looked at him. They didn't continue to attack the dying Murong Kai-e. His heart suddenly relaxed. Ha ha ha. You, a low-level high god, want to fight with me? This is the funniest joke I have heard in this competition. Wu Li laughed arrogantly and said, Prepare to die. I won't let you crush the transmission crystal. We will know who wins and who loses after the battle. Facing the arrogant Wu Li, Night Sorrow's eyes were full of determination. He didn't have the slightest intention to retreat. Zhenhai, deal with Murong Kai-e. I will kill Night Sorrow. Chapter 2609. Okay, senior brother. Murong Kai-e is seriously injured. Don't worry about her. You deal with Night Sorrow. Hearing Wu Li's command, Wan Zhenhai looked at Murong Kai-e contemptuously and said, Your 32 points are mine. Thinking that he could get 32 points at once, he was very excited. He originally thought that these points would belong to Wu Li, but now it was a complete surprise. Wan Zhenhai, although I am injured, I am not someone a trash like you can kill. Wu Li turned to deal with Night Sorrow, and Murong Kai-e's pressure was relieved. She found a chance to swallow a few pills. After swallowing the pills, Murong Kai-e was still in a difficult situation at first, but after fighting with Wan Zhenhai for a while, the god origin force in her body gradually recovered. Bastard! How can you turn around when you are on the verge of death? After fighting for a while, Wan Zhenhai gradually felt that something was wrong. At first, He completely suppressed Murong Kai-e, but now they were almost evenly matched. If they continued to fight, he would probably be defeated. His heart was covered with a layer of shadow. He only hoped that Wu Li could quickly deal with Night Sorrow and come back to help. Wan Jianhai, your defeat has been revealed. You are not far from being killed. Now, I will let you know that there is a difference between the 4th and the 11th. The more Murong Kai-e fought, the more powerful her aura became. She gradually took control of the situation. She had completely recovered her former fairy appearance. Murong Kai-e, don't be happy too early. If it doesn't work, I can still escape to senior brother's side to seek protection. Wan Jianhai was very angry. He almost got the 32 points, but he didn't get it. This made him feel very frustrated. You are an expert on the divine list. How can you leave Wu Li's protection and become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered? If you don't have the heart of an expert, how can you go further on the road of cultivation? Murong Tsai, who was looking at the 10,000 sword sea, made a domineering move to suppress him. At this time, she was very grateful to Night Sorrow. If he didn't come, she would have crushed the transfer crystal and wouldn't have had a chance to escape from a hopeless situation. On the square of Tianqing Gate, seeing Murong Kai-e gradually recover, the worried people of Tianqing sect were very excited. Both of them felt a sense of relief after surviving a calamity, and they also felt grateful towards Night Sorrow. As for the people from Tianyun School and Tianxian School, as well as the spectators from other sects, their eyes were locked onto Night Sorrow and Wu Li. Between Night Sorrow and Wu Li, one was the most mysterious person in the God group during the 7-sect Grand Tournament, while the other was the strongest first seed. Their clash made everyone excited. Normally, Night Sorrow would not be favored. However, everyone had witnessed him successfully killing the Heavenly Martial Pavilion's Mengdu naturally. They would not underestimate him. Many people were looking forward to this battle. They felt that this would be the most exciting battle of the upper gods. However, Wu Li himself looked down on Night Sorrow very much. He simply did not treat him as an opponent of the same level. In the process of chasing Night Sorrow, not only was there a strong killing intent on his face, there was also a look of contempt between his brows. He said calmly, as if he was in control of the entire situation, "Run? Do you think you can run? What a clown. I'll let you be proud for a while." Night Sorrow said confidently as he led Wu Li towards the array. It was true that his strength was lower than Wu Li's, but if he could lure him into the array, the battle situation would definitely be reversed. With the array in hand, the world was mine. This was the source of Night Sorrow's confidence. Haha, didn't you just set up an array? Do you think I, Wu Li, can't see through it? After chasing for a while, Night Sorrow entered the trapping array, while Wu Li stood at the edge of the array. After observing for a while, he said disdainfully. Then, he took out a mountain-sized jade seal from his spatial artifact. He looked at Night Sorrow and sneered, "Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal. A monarch-level array can be broken by force. I want to see how long your array can last." Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal. Break the array. Taking out the Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal, Wu Li did not delay for a moment and silently chanted the incantation to activate it. The Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal that received the order flew to the sky where the array was located and smashed down with a loud bang. The enormous power made the entire world change color. This was completely breaking the array with force, but the effect was very good. This Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal is really extraordinary. If it keeps bombarding like this, the trapping array might very well be shattered. If I encounter Wu Li directly, I'm definitely not his match. How can I be willing to lose to him? The Night Sorrow in the trapping array discovered that this Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal was extremely ferocious. It shook the array very quickly. If it smashed for a while more, the array would definitely break apart with a bang. Ha ha ha. Night Sorrow, the array formation that you're relying on doesn't look like much. I want to see what you can still rely on after the array formation is broken. Outside the array formation, Wu Li floated in midair, his brows full of killing intent. In his view, Night Sorrow was already a fish on the chopping board. There was no chance to turn things around at all. Wu Li, don't be happy too early. It's not that easy to defeat me. Inside the array formation, Night Sorrow gradually calmed down under the bombardment of the Swimming Dragon Sea Turning Seal. He took out all 10 dragon blood restriction breaking pills from his spatial magic tool. After swallowing one, there were no signs of advancement. Night Sorrow swallowed the second and third pills in succession. When he swallowed the fifth pill, his body produced a strong reaction. He felt that the divine origin power in his body seemed to have suddenly exploded and surged fiercely. The blood in his body was like a stormy sea, emitting a turbulent sound. My divine origin power has increased a lot. My body has also become a lot stronger, but it's still not enough. I might as well swallow all of them. Generally, when a high god realm cultivator consumed a dragon blood restriction breaking pill, they would immediately break through. Night Sorrow swallowed all 10 pills before he had the opportunity to break through. This was directly related to his strength. Sitting in place, Night Sorrow calmed his chi and focused his mind at the same time as the swimming dragon sea-turning seal smashed down and advanced to middle god realm. Boom! When Night Sorrow advanced from lower god realm to middle god realm, his lightning tribulation energy body immediately fell from the sky. Seeing that Night Sorrow chose to break through at this juncture, the spectators in the Tianqing Gate all began to discuss. Most of them felt that Night Sorrow had just broken through to lower god realm not long ago, and he chose to use the pills to advance to middle god realm. This was no different from pulling up seedlings to help them grow. It would have an impact on his foundation. Chapter 26:10. If anyone else had made such a decision, they would have cut off their future path. But Night Sorrow is different. He has accumulated a lot of resources. As a lesser high god, he has the ability to reach the top 10 of the god ranking. How could a genius like him be affected by a mere mid-high god? Divine King Zhuangqing, who was in his spatial artifact, replied confidently. He was very confident in Night Sorrow. Thank you, Grand Elder Zhuang, for dispelling my doubts. Now that you've explained it, I understand. Yi Shang doesn't lack a foundation at all. He only lacks time to cultivate. Lu Qingyuan sighed and continued, these dragon blood limit breaking pills are only saving him the trouble of cultivating. That is correct. The divine King Zhuangqing confirmed and continued, but this method can only be used once in each realm. If it is used too many times, no matter how deep one's foundations are, one's Tao heart will become unstable and it will be detrimental to one's future. Grand Elder Zhuang, do you think that Night Sorrow will have the ability to defeat Wu Li now that he has become a mid-high god? Lu Qingyuan, who was looking forward to Night Sorrow, asked. After all, Zhuangqing was the divine King Zhuangqing and could see many things more clearly than he could. In my opinion, with Night Sorrow's resources, even if he cannot defeat Wu Li after becoming a mid-high god, he should have no problem protecting himself. After his breakthrough, his strength will at least rise to second place. The divine King Zhuangqing analyzed. In his opinion, after Night Sorrow's breakthrough, his strength would definitely surpass Meng Du and Zhuang Yuhe. However, Wu Li's strength was unfathomable. Even he wasn't sure who would have the upper hand between Night Sorrow and him. Night Sorrow's strength has increased again. This guy is a freak among freaks. Perhaps he already has the strength to challenge Wu Li. In other words, he has the strength to challenge the top 3 on the god ranking. Si Kongxiang's eyes were filled with envy when he saw that Night Sorrow had successfully broken through to the mid-god realm and his aura had changed yet again. Mei Ruoxue, who was beside him, also sighed emotionally. Perhaps this is the so-called disposition of a ruler. If he wasn't so outstanding, why would he Gemin Clear Sound view him in such a different light? Si Kongxiang nodded. That's true. We shouldn't compare ourselves with him. Otherwise, our Tao hearts will definitely be unstable. Night Sorrow looked like he had gotten rich overnight, but in reality, he had accumulated a lot of experience. If he hadn't had a perfect foundation in the Feather God realm, he wouldn't have been so strong in the High God realm. They all understood these things. Within the Immortal Cloud Mystic realm. The moment Night Sorrow successfully broke through, even with the help of the swimming dragon sea flipping seal, Wu Li did not completely break through the trapping array. At this time, the innumerable sword sea could no longer withstand Murongcai's attacks. The difference in strength between the 11th and the 4th could almost be described as the difference between heaven and earth. The defeated innumerable sword sea could only helplessly escape to Wu Li and say, "Senior brother, I'm not Murongcai's opponent." Just now she pretended to be seriously injured, but in reality, she still has the strength to fight. No matter. Then let's fight together. Wu Li looked at the innumerable swords see. He knew what was going on, but he didn't blame him for not doing his job well. A powerful battle strength erupted from his body as he coldly roared, "Night Sorrow, if you don't come out, I will personally kill Murong Tsai." According to his judgment, even with the help of the swimming dragon sea flipping seal, it would take 2 to 4 hours to completely break the array. He wanted to immediately kill Night Sorrow and avenge Wuyo. He was already impatient, so he threatened. "Don't be delusional. You won't have the chance." Night Sorrow, who had already stabilized his mind at the mid-high god realm, slowly walked out of the trapping array. According to his judgment, if he joined forces with Murong Tsai, they would definitely be able to defeat the combination of Wu Li and innumerable swords see. You finally rolled out of your turtle shell. Now, prepare for your death. Don't think that just because you have advanced to the mid-high god realm, you can fight against the invincible me. Facing Night Sorrow, Wu Li completely unleashed his killing intent. He controlled the swimming dragon sea flipping seal and smashed it towards Night Sorrow with an imposing aura. I have heard this sentence of yours before. It is truly laughable. If you were truly invincible, why would you be ranked third on the divine list instead of first place? Feeling the abundant divine origin energy in his body, Night Sorrow disdainfully roared. Using the Samsara heavenly halberd, he struck out the Samsara strike and directly sent Wu Li's swimming dragon sea flipping seal flying. One roar shaking mountains and rivers. After sending Wu Li's swimming dragon sea flipping seal flying, Night Sorrow immediately used the green rock soul-splitting roar. Insignificant skill. Wu Li judged from Night Sorrow's roar that Night Sorrow used this move to attack the divine soul. However, he had learned the incomplete version of the Star Soul secret technique from Wuxian, so his divine soul was relatively strong and could withstand this attack. My target isn't you. In the face of Wu Li's provocation, Night Sorrow smiled coldly and looked at Wan Zhenhai, who was bleeding from his orifices. Without hesitation, he used the second move of the green rock soul-splitting roar. Second roar shattering heaven and earth. Ah! Senior brother, save me. My divine soul can't withstand it. After being attacked by Night Sorrow's green rock soul-splitting roar, Wan Zhenhai couldn't withstand it at all and hurriedly cried for help. Trash. What's the use of having you? You can't even withstand this level of attack. Wan Zhenhai's weakness made Wu Li very angry. He said coldly, if you continue to be attacked, your divine soul might be destroyed and enter my spatial artifact. Yes. Senior brother. Wu Li was a temperamental person and Wan Zhenhai was very afraid of him. Hearing this, he immediately gave up resisting and prepared to enter the spatial artifact. Divine Origin Dragon Locking Array. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who had opened the eye of the sea serpent, saw Wan Zhenhai's figure clearly and directly bound him in the trapping array. He jumped high and used the Samsara halberd to attack with the enhanced version of the Raging Flames demon subduing. Wan Zhenhai, who couldn't get out of the sealed space, was burned by the flames. He immediately crushed the teleportation crystal. He knew that if he hesitated, he would be eliminated directly. Now that things had developed to this point, the spectators on the square of the heavenly clear gate realized that Murong Tsai hadn't arrived. But Yi Shang had already successfully eliminated the heavenly profound sex Wan Zhenhai in a 1 versus 2 situation. This display of strength left countless people dumbfounded. When the 7-sect tournament began, Night Sorrow had just broken through to the supreme deity level. Now less than a month had passed and he had become so strong. This speed of improvement was simply shocking. Incredible! This Night Sorrow from Tianyun School has a limitless future. No wonder he can get the protection of ruler voiceless sound. Chapter 26:11. Yes, Gate Master. Yes, Gate Master. Grand Elder Fan Xianyun and Vice Gate Master Liang Shijun beside Tan Qingfeng responded one after another. They didn't raise any objections to this matter. After all, anyone who wasn't a fool could see Night Sorrow's strength. Grand Elder Fan Xianyun sighed with emotion. I've never seen such a strong rising star in my life. If he doesn't die young, his achievements will definitely overshadow us. It's not just you who haven't seen it. Even the former ruler wasn't as strong as him. Tan Qingfeng used to be in the same era as ruler Tianai. In the end, ruler Tianai succeeded in rising, and everyone else in the same era was overshadowed. But in his opinion, ruler Tianai wasn't as strong as Knight Sorrow in the same era. As the gatemaster, Tan Qingfeng was afraid that Tianqing Gate's luck wouldn't be able to suppress a future ruler. If they resisted, they might suffer a backlash. They wanted to form an alliance with Tianyun's school. Gatemaster, what kind of concessions should we make in the face of Tianyun's school? Vice Gate Master Liang Shijun asked. Because of Knight Sorrow, Tianyun's school's future was limitless. They had to be cautious. After watching his battle with Wu Li, we'll decide. As long as he doesn't die in the Immortal Cloud's secret realm, Tianqing Gate will immediately form an alliance with Tianyun's school. Tan Qingfeng sighed. Some people must have a good relationship with them before they completely rise. Otherwise, it's impossible to climb up their social ladder. Yes. Shijun understands. Liang Shijun nodded and then locked his gaze on the image, watching the battle between Knight Sorrow and Wu Li. At this time, Murong Tsai had already appeared beside the two of them. However, Knight Sorrow didn't let her fight with Wu Li. Instead, he chose to fight Wu Li one-on-one. He wanted to thoroughly test his own strength. Knight Sorrow, you're the most reckless cultivator I've ever seen. If you don't let Murong Kai-e help you, it is equivalent to directly choosing death. Wu Li's face was filled with arrogance. In his probing confrontation with Knight Sorrow, he had gained a certain advantage. As the #1 high deity of the 7 sects, he was indeed very powerful. Speaking of which, you're merely a half-step divine lord, just 2 minor realms higher than me. Against you I, Knight Sorrow, do not need anyone else's help. Knight Sorrow responded to Wu Li. Because he had just advanced, his boundless aura was released without any restraint, giving off an extremely powerful feeling. After saying this, Knight Sorrow used the 33 Heavens secret combat technique to increase his strength. He used the Azure Rock Soul Rending Roar's 3rd roar to break the cycle of reincarnation to attack Wu Li. That sort of sound wave attack was extremely powerful. Furthermore, it was capable of disturbing one's mind. Even if it did not injure Wu Li, it was capable of causing his state of mind to become agitated. As long as his mind was in a mess, he would definitely reveal a flaw. I've said it before. Your attacks are just small tricks. They're useless against me. Wu Li's divine soul was somewhat shaken by the Azure Rock Soul Rending Roar, but his mouth was still very tough. At the same time, he took out a giant sickle that was more than 3 feet long from his spatial artifact. This sickle's blade was suffused with a cold light, giving off a chilling feeling. At a glance, one could tell that it was a forbidden divine artifact among divine lord artifacts. Sickle of Harvest. Chop off his head. After taking out the Sickle of Harvest, Wu Li threw it into the air. He had it and the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal Pressure Knight Sorrow together. Then he took out a saber, held it in his hand, and unleashed an ultimate technique at Yi Shang. Indestructible Heaven Beheading Saber. Wu Li's attack, 3-in-1, was extremely powerful. As expected, you have a lot of methods. Facing the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal, the Sickle of Harvest, and Wu Li's Indestructible Heaven Beheading Saber. If Knight Sorrow chose to face them head-on, he would be no different from a fool. After activating the Sea Serpent Eye, he immediately used the Void Extreme Shadow Body and shuttled through the void, avoiding all the areas that the three could cover. However, when Knight Sorrow's figure appeared, Wu Li's Indestructible Heaven Beheading Saber had already dissipated. However, the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal and the Sickle of Harvest swarmed forward again. These 2 divine artifacts were controlled by the artifact spirits and could attack independently. After locking onto Knight Sorrow, their attacks were in a continuous state. 2 artifact spirits dare to be so arrogant. Knight Sorrow was very disgusted by the attacks of the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal and the Sickle of Harvest. He condensed his divine essence and activated the heavenly Samsara Halberd. He suddenly used the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal and blasted out a forbidden spear. Knight Sorrow, who had already activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique, this attack was several times stronger than the one that had sent the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal flying. The spear pierced through the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal. How can this be? Wu Li's expression changed when he saw that the Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal was pierced through by Knight Sorrow's spear. The Swimming Dragon Sea Flipping Seal was one of his most important divine artifacts. After being pierced through by the spear, although it was not completely destroyed, Its power would definitely be greatly reduced and it would no longer be a threat to Night Sorrow. Why can't it be like this? Your sickle of harvest will also end up like this. You're just an artifact spirit and you still dare to chase after me endlessly. You're courting death. Night Sorrow roared and used the Divine Essence Dragon Locking Array to imprison the sickle of harvest in a sealed space. Then, he used the Heavenly Samsara Halberd to unleash the raging demon subduing flames to trap and burn it. Not long after, the artifact spirit in the sickle of harvest was burned to death and the sickle of harvest fell to the ground uncontrollably. Night Sorrow. You destroyed 2 of my divine artifacts in a row. You definitely won't live to see tomorrow. Wu Li roared in anger when he saw Night Sorrow destroy the swimming dragon sea flipping seal and the sickle of harvest. Night Sorrow is simply a divine artifact killer. What grade is the Samsara Halberd in his hand? How can it be so terrifying? On the square of Tianqing Gate, the spectators were all shocked by Night Sorrow's counterattack. Originally, they thought that Wu Li would definitely be able to suppress him with so much help. However, they did not expect that 2 of his divine artifacts would be destroyed in just a moment. It was like throwing 2 stones into a lake. There was no splash at all. The people of Tianyun School who were originally worried about Night Sorrow immediately relaxed when they saw the scene in front of them. Although the battle between him and Wu Yu had just begun, it was obvious that he still had the strength to fight. This made the hearts of Lu Qingyuan and the others gradually calm down. In the Immortal Cloud's secret realm, Night Sorrow, who was threatened by Wu Li, smiled contemptuously. Battle depends on strength. Words don't kill people. Night Sorrow, let's have a battle of life and death. The loser will not crush the teleportation crystal even if he is killed. Do you dare? Wu Li's voice carried the coldness of the Grim Reaper. There was a feeling of contempt for life. He naturally said this to provoke Night Sorrow. If Yi Shang didn't agree, then his aura would definitely weaken by a bit. Night Sorrow, you have a bright future ahead of you. There is no need to fight with him. Seeing that Wu Li actually issued such a challenge to Night Sorrow, Lu Qingyuan immediately shouted out worriedly. However, he was in the square of Tianqing Gate. How could he affect the people in the Immortal Cloud's secret realm? Just when he was worried and anxious, Night Sorrow looked at Wu Li and said, "Since you want a battle of life and death, I, Night Sorrow, will accompany you." Chapter 26:12. In fact, Night Sorrow had never retreated from a battle. Facing Wu Li, who was also a high god, he was confident that he could escape unscathed, even in a life and death battle. In a life and death battle, he would completely open the sea serpent eye and observe the details of his opponent's every move. This way, he would be in an invincible position. Ha ha ha. You agreed. Very good. I don't have to waste my breath. Now, welcome death. I will erupt with my true strength. Murderous aura condensed between Wu Li's eyebrows. The aura made Murong Kai-i, who was not far away, shiver. Endless killing intent. The impact it brought was like an extraterrestrial demon. Wu Li's aura. How can this be? Murong Kai-i, who was very close to Night Sorrow and Wu Li, felt Wu Li's evil aura and immediately became worried, afraid that Night Sorrow would fall for it. She transmitted her voice. Night Sorrow. Wu Li's aura is extremely evil. You must be careful. Don't worry, I have the power of virtue. I am naturally not afraid of any evil aura. Yi Shang comforted her and continued, "It'll be fine. I am confident that I will be invincible in the same realm. If you are at a disadvantage, I will take action no matter what." Murong Kai-yi's face showed a trace of determination. She felt that Night Sorrow did not need to accept the challenge. It was a bit risky. It was better for the 2 of them to take action together. Don't worry, although I am only a medium-high god, my absolute strength should not be inferior to his. Night Sorrow replied confidently. Wu Li was very strong, whether it was his body, divine soul power, or divine origin energy, they were all very powerful. But the things he cultivated were mostly the experience gained in the Endless Bone Realm and Zhanyuan Divine Monarch's Cave. In comparison, Night Sorrow's cultivation in these aspects was more on point. Although his realm was relatively low, his foundation was very rich, especially after breaking through to medium-high god. His rich foundation had been completely transformed into battle strength. Good. I believe you can do it. Night Sorrow had unlimited confidence. Murong Kai-e did not say much, but Wu Li did give him an extremely dangerous feeling. In the square of Tianqing Gate, Lu Qingyuan from Tianyun School sighed and said, Night Sorrow agreed to Wu Li's life and death duel. This is too impulsive. It's not advisable. With his talent, if he doesn't experience this, he will be able to beat Wu Yu in all aspects in at most 1,000 years. This is the difference between you and the strong. Within the spatial artifact, the divine King Zhuangqing let out a cold snort and said, The reason why an eagle is because it has been tempered by countless mountains and valleys. If it was cooped up in its nest all day long like a chicken, how could it soar to the 9 heavens? There's nothing wrong with Night Sorrow's choice in this matter. He has an invincible heart. Hearing this, Lu Qingyuan's body shook. It's Qingyuan's lack of boldness. Extraordinary people do extraordinary things. Night Sorrow won't let us down. Divine King Zhuangqing looked at Yi Chong in the projection. He could see a tyrannical look on his face, one that coveted the world. Such a person dared to fight the heavens and the earth. How could he be afraid of a mere Wu Li? As for the people of the other sects, the discussion was even more intense. 20 days ago, Night Sorrow was still fighting with Wu Yo of the Feather God realm. Now, he was facing his brother, Wu Li, who was ranked 3rd on the divine list. This kind of speed of rise made everyone present pale in comparison. Just as the divine King Zhuangqing's voice fell, Night Sorrow and Wu Li fought again. At this time, Wu Li's killing intent was completely released. His whole body seemed to be wearing a set of black armor. Go to hell, Night Sorrow. I will smash you to pieces. While roaring, Wu Li used a unique skill. This move was called the Heaven and Earth Shattering Hand. It was a unique skill that used the strength of the body. Comparing the strength of the body? I think you've chosen the wrong direction. Night Sorrow, who had activated the Clam Dragon's Eye, saw through Wu Li's attack. He imitated his ultimate technique and used the same move to counterattack. In terms of physical strength, he did not fear anyone of the same cultivation level. Rumble. After the two clashed, Night Sorrow did not retreat half a step, while Wu Li retreated 1,000 meters. You also know the Heaven and Earth Shattering Hand? And your body isn't weaker than mine? Wu Li's face was filled with disbelief. How could he have imagined that Night Sorrow could use the Sea Serpent Eye to see through his unique skill and imitate it? Samsara Void Palm. While Wu Li was stunned, Night Sorrow seized the opportunity to use the Samsara Void Palm. Yi Shan could feel that Wu Li's body was very tough, but it was still a little weaker than his own. This was likely related to the Genesis Essence Baptism. Fleeting 100 strikes. In the face of Night Sorrow's Samsara Void Palm, Wu Li shouted and used the long blade in his hand to slash out thousands of blade shadows. These blade shadows were very fine and almost blocked all of Night Sorrow's attack routes. He was using offense as a substitute for defense. He wanted Night Sorrow to disperse the attack just now. You want me to disperse my attack? How is that possible? Wu Li's fleeting 100 strikes was very powerful, and it was executed with a Divine Lord-level artifact. But Night Sorrow did not retreat at all in the face of this move. Using his palm as a divine artifact, he clashed with it. Haha. Using your own body as a Divine Lord artifact, this isn't confidence, but ignorance. Wu Li let out a loud laugh and said, Tianqing Gate Square. Seeing Night Sorrow make such a choice, the Tianyun school students were all worried. They had never seen anyone use their own body as a divine artifact in battle. In fact, they did not know that when Night Sorrow went all out, he was not only ruthless to the enemy, but also to himself. Blade shadows. Break for me. While Wu Li was laughing wildly, Night Sorrow's Samsara Void Palm slapped out a ripple in the void. Like ripples in the water, it blasted towards Wu Li's fleeting 100 strikes. Hundreds of boom! Explosions suddenly sounded in the void, and everything in the surrounding area was blown to smithereens. With the Eye of the Sea Serpent activated, Night Sorrow could see through Wu Li's fleeting 100 strikes. With just one punch, he shattered hundreds of blade shadows. Then he continued to attack Wu Li. This is impossible. Seeing Night Sorrow break fleeting 100 strikes with one punch, Wu Li's face was full of shock. He did not expect that Night Sorrow had the Eye of the Sea Serpent and could see through his every move. Nothing is impossible. Take this. This palm was about to hit Wu Li's body. Night Sorrow roared and raised his palm to the strongest state. Tianxian Bell, protect! Wu Li felt as if he was locked in by the Samsara Void palm. Knowing that he could not dodge, Wu Li summoned a bell-shaped defensive artifact from his spatial artifact. Seeing the appearance of the Tianxian Bell, the Tianqing Gate Master Tan Qingfeng was immediately surprised. Chapter 26:13. Clang! Night Sorrow's Void Samsara palm hit the profound heaven bell, and a loud thud was heard. Night Sorrow spat out a mouthful of blood from the profound heaven bell's recoil. This profound heaven bell should be the best defensive weapon among Divine Lord weapons, and its recoil was very fierce. Haha! You're just an ant that just became a high god. How can you compare to me, Wu Li? Wu Li smiled grimly when he saw that Yi Shang had been injured. At the same time he shouted, "Tao Tai Dire Wolf, come out!" As he spoke, he summoned his mount, a high Divine Lord level beast. This was a powerful mount prepared by the sect for the 5 great sect masters. Awu! The summoned Tao Tai Dire Wolf was 100 feet tall, and its fur looked like a long spear. Its mouth cracked open, and it looked ferocious, as if it wanted to swallow everything in the world. A high Divine Lord level Tao Tai Dire Wolf. Tianxian School actually prepared such a powerful mount for Wu Li. Its combat strength is probably higher than Wu Li's. Lu Qingyuan sighed when he saw Wu Li summon a high Divine Lord level mount. My Tianyun School support for Night Sorrow was really minimal. Now that I think about it, I feel really guilty. My Tianyun School really didn't prepare enough. This time, let's see what kind of strength Night Sorrow can erupt with. Even the Divine King Zhuang Qing in the spatial artifact became nervous for Night Sorrow when he saw the profound heaven bell and the high Divine Lord level mount appear. The things that Tianxian School prepared for Wu Li were like cheating for the High Gods group. This Tao Tai Dire Wolf and Wu Li's strength is probably not something a High God can handle. It looks like Night Sorrow will definitely die this time. There's no need for us to cooperate with Tianyun School anymore. Tianqing Gate's Deputy Gate Master Liang Shijun said when he saw the scene in front of him. Normally, it should be so. Tianqing Gate's Gate Master Tan Qingfeng nodded and said, but Night Sorrow isn't an ordinary person. After all, he's not inferior to a ruler at the same level. He should be able to put up a fight. If Night Sorrow can still win despite Wu Li's shamelessness, it means that he probably has a destiny that is not inferior to a ruler's. People like this can only be befriended. Otherwise, you will suffer a serious backlash. Sect Master is right. At this moment, even I, Fan Xianyun, am a little curious about Yi Shang. I don't understand how he grew. I didn't see any items from the Tianyun clan on him. This proves that the Tianyun clan is not grooming him well. Of Heaven sect. Tianyun School is simply wasting resources. It's not without reason. Wu Li was armed to the teeth by Tianyun School, and Night Sorrow didn't have a single item from Tianyun School. Tianqing Gate's Gate Master Tan Qingfeng glanced at Tianyun School's Lu Qingyuan and said, if Night Sorrow had chosen to join Tianqing Gate, he could have killed Wu Li with his resources alone. I think that cultivating a genius is the same as cultivating an eagle. Tianyun School's Wu Li relied too much on his equipment and the strength of his mount. This is not conducive to cultivating a strong heart. Grand Elder Fan Xianyun shook his head. Grand Elder Fan, do you mean that Tianyun School made the right choice by accident? Tan Qingfeng asked doubtfully. Exactly. Let's continue to watch the battle. I want to see how Night Sorrow will break out of this situation. Fan Xianyun's gaze returned to the image. Night Sorrow was being suppressed by Wu Li and the Tao Tai Dire Wolf. He seemed to be in a difficult situation. The Tao Tai Dire Wolf was clearly stronger than Wu Li. It was ferocious and very difficult to deal with. Night Sorrow used the Samsara halberd. He had already used all the spear arts and techniques he could, but he couldn't hurt the Tao Tai Dire Wolf at all. This Tao Tai Dire Wolf clearly had a special bloodline. It wasn't something an ordinary upper celestial lord level beast could compare to. Divine Dragon Lock Spell. Night Sorrow was definitely not a match for the man and wolf. He was in a difficult situation under the suppression of the Tao Tai Dire Wolf. At this moment, Yi Shang recalled the scene when he killed Worryless. He had used the Divine Dragon Lock spell to trap himself and Wu Li in the same sealed space and used the strength of his body to fight. This move stunned Wu Li. However, his body wasn't weak either. After a brief moment of astonishment, he began to fight with Night Sorrow. Yi Shang's body had almost reached perfection with the help of the myriad Tao Tome and Genesis essence of the universe. He very quickly gained the upper hand in the fight. Wu Li wanted to break out of the formation, but he didn't have any strength left. He could only passively take a beating like Wu Yu. "You're dead. You'll die in the same way as Wu Yu." Night Sorrow completely erupted in the sealed space of the Divine Dragon Lock spell. Without the Tao Tai Dire Wolf's interference, he would soon be able to kill Wu Li. A Wu! However, just as Night Sorrow was gaining the upper hand, the Tao Tai Dire Wolf outside suddenly roared and charged into the sealed space. With a boom, the Divine Dragon Lock spell, which was very difficult to break, was completely shattered by the Tao Tai Dire Wolf. The Tao Tai Dire Wolf clearly had a special ability. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to break the Divine Dragon Lock spell. Very good. Wu Li, who had escaped from the Divine Dragon Lock spell, shouted at the Tao Tai Dire Wolf. When he was trapped inside earlier, he truly felt that he would be killed. Wu Li laughed loudly and looked coldly at Night Sorrow. "Now that you've used everything you've been relying on, let's see how you're going to turn the tables." Wu Li wasn't the only one who had such thoughts. Lu Qingyuan, Zhuang Qing, the Divine King and the others who were familiar with Night Sorrow also began to worry. They recalled for a moment and realized that Night Sorrow seemed to have used all the techniques he had used before. He didn't hold anything back. In such a situation, it would be extremely difficult for him to withstand the attacks of Wu Li and the Tao Tai Dire Wolf. Murong Tsai, who was watching from the side, had already begun to condense her divine yuan power in preparation to act. Just as everyone was worried about Yi Shang, Yi Zichen's expression changed. Night Sorrow was floating in the air, looking at Wu Li, who had deliberately distanced himself from him, as well as the Tao Tai Dire Wolf, who was attacking him once again. In such a desperate situation, he suddenly had an idea and turned around to escape into the formation he had set up. The Tao Tai Dire Wolf, who was unable to stop Wu Li in time, immediately rushed into the trap that Night Sorrow had set up. "Bastard! I'll kill you first." After the ferocious Tao Tai Dire Wolf rushed into the trap, its aura immediately weakened by 4 to 5% and its strength decreased by a lot. Chapter 26:14. A Wu! The Tao Tai Dire Wolf howled as it was being burned by the ancestral phoenix's flames. Knowing that Night Sorrow had temporarily suppressed the Tao Tai Dire Wolf, Wu Li immediately used the profound heavenly bell to strike the formation. This was also using force to break the formation, but the effect was much better than Wu Li's swimming dragon sea flipping seal. The formation was soon shaken. Samsara strike! Night Sorrow did not delay. Before the trap formation was completely broken, he struck the Samsara strike into the sealed space. The Tao Tai Dire Wolf, who was trapped and burned, was unable to dodge. The Samsara strike caused its strength to drop from Upper Celestial Lord to Middle Celestial Lord. Boom! At this moment, the profound heavenly bell completely broke the trap formation. Night Sorrow! The trap formation is broken. Let's see what else you can do. Wu Li, who used the profound heavenly bell to break the trap formation, felt that Night Sorrow had no chance of winning. This was because the Tao Tai Dire Wolf had just broken Night Sorrow's divine origin dragon lock formation. However, after breaking the trap formation, he realized that the trapped Tao Tai Dire Wolf did not break out of the formation. Instead, it was being burned continuously. "My idea is to kill you and this beast." The Tao Tai Dire Wolf was trapped and could not even take care of itself. Night Sorrow attacked Wu Li with the heavenly Samsara halberd. Wu Li's strength was actually very strong. However, in battle, he relied too much on various divine weapons. In the long run, he lacked the determination to press forward. Facing Night Sorrow alone, he was obviously a little weak. He had been thinking about how to save the Tao Tai Dire Wolf and fight together with him. Therefore, in the battle, he was not focused enough and was continuously stabbed by Night Sorrow's heavenly Samsara halberd. He was completely suppressed. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who found a chance to get close to Wu Li, immediately used the virtuous dragon lock formation to lock him and Wu Li in the sealed space. They completely engaged in close combat. This time, the weakened Taotai dire wolf and the profound heavenly bell could not break through the more powerful virtuous dragon lock formation. Under the frenzied close combat, Wu Li was quickly suppressed. It was only a matter of time before he was killed. However, just as Wu Li was about to be killed, a phantom suddenly drilled out from between his eyebrows. This phantom was a handsome man with long and narrow eyes. He looked at Night Sorrow and coldly threatened, "If you kill Wu Li, even if I have to chase you to the ends of the earth, I Wu Xen will destroy your soul. You're that despicable and shameless person who cheated Hai Bei City of its resources and became the Divine King, Wu Xen?" In the enclosed space, Night Sorrow coldly asked Wu Xen, who was dressed in white. After arriving in the God realm, the two people that Night Sorrow hated the most were Ling Yun and Wu Xen. "Oh. So, you're related to Mo Yuqian and Zhen Yuan?" Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Wu Xen coldly asked. His long and narrow eyes were filled with killing intent. "I'm related to you because I'll destroy you with my own hands." Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't mention Mo Yuqian and Zhen Yuan. He was afraid that Wu Xen would attack them if he couldn't find him. The current Wu Xen was already the Divine King. Judging from his aura, he should be an expert among the Divine Kings. This was a huge threat. He didn't say much and immediately snapped Wu Li's neck. "Bastard! You're courting death. When I come out of seclusion, there will be no place for you in the world." Seeing Wu Li being killed by Night Sorrow with his own eyes, Wu Xen's killing intent completely exploded. However, he was on the verge of a breakthrough. The phantom he left behind for Wu Li didn't have any fighting power. He could only watch helplessly. Shameless boasting. "I'll kill you first." Facing the Divine King's phantom that didn't have any fighting power, Night Sorrow smashed it like a fly. After killing Wu Li, Night Sorrow fought with the Taotai dire wolf. The weakened Taotai dire wolf was no longer a match for Night Sorrow and was quickly killed. Then, he stored Wu Li's spatial device and Tianxian School's unique defensive artifact, the Tianxian Bell, into his own spatial device. Wu Li had a lot of treasures. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't open it under the illumination of the image crystal. After defeating Wan Zhenhai and Wu Li consecutively, he gained 60 points. His total points reached 110, successfully surpassing Wu Li, who was originally in first place with 90 points. He once again reached the top of the Heavenly Gods group. Damn it! Damn it! Seeing Wu Li killed and the Tianxian Bell taken by Night Sorrow, everyone in Tianxian School was enraged. They started to discuss how to deal with Night Sorrow and take back the Tianxian Bell. Ha ha ha! Night Sorrow didn't disappoint us. This time, he created a miracle. If nothing goes wrong, our Tianyun School will be the champion of the Heavenly Gods group in the 7-Sex tournament. He single-handedly decided the champion of the Divine Feathers group and the Heavenly Gods group. He really is a peerless genius. After Night Sorrow killed Wu Li, Lu Qingyuan clenched his fists in excitement. His eyebrows were furrowed. All this time, the Tianyun School had been holding back too much. This time they finally exploded. It was very likely that they would win both the Divine Feathers group and the Heavenly Gods group. Night Sorrow also had a chance to win the individual Heavenly Gods group. Our Tianyun School has been silent for thousands of years. Now, we finally have a golden age. This feeling is really great. To be able to witness all of this with my own eyes, this trip is really worth it. The Divine King Zhuangqing in the spatial device was also very happy. As for Si Kongxiang, Mei Ruoxue and the rest, they were even more excited. The moment Night Sorrow killed Wu Li, they almost shouted at the same time. In the Immortal Cloud's secret realm, Murong Tsai, who had witnessed Night Sorrow successfully killing Wu Li, revealed a smile. "I didn't expect that you would be so strong after breaking through to the Heavenly Gods a month ago. Now that Wu Li is dead, no one in the entire Immortal Cloud's secret realm is your opponent. Tianyun School has already been crowned champion in advance." Murong Tsai congratulated Tianyun School from the bottom of her heart for winning the double championship. "There won't be a fight between us. In the next few days, it will depend on whose luck is better and who meets more opponents," Night Sorrow said with a smile. With his personality, he naturally wouldn't be protective of his friends. If Murong Tsai met more experts and succeeded in obtaining points, she would still have a chance to lead the Tianyun School to defeat Tianyun School. "Hee hee, my life was saved by you. It would be too much to compete with you for points. You can continue to participate in the competition. I will give you my points. After saying this, Murong Tsai tilted her head and smiled. She calmly crushed the teleportation crystal in her hand. Hey! You don't have to do this. Night Sorrow wanted to stop her, but when his hand stopped in mid-air, Murong Tsai had already teleported out of the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. Because of this, Yi Shang gained another 32 points for no reason. His total points had reached 142 points. Even if he didn't obtain any more points, there was a high chance that he would be the champion of the Heavenly Gods Group competition. What the hell is this? Night Sorrow shook his head and began to think about his next move. However, at this moment, in the distant sky, a dazzling 7-colored star suddenly rose. Seeing this star, he said doubtfully, "This is Zhuang Yuhe's distress signal." Now that the top few experts had all left, it was reasonable to say that he shouldn't be threatened anymore. Could it be that he met a half-step Divine King Realm mutated beast? Chapter 26:15. Night Sorrow didn't see Zhuang Yuhe or anyone from the Starry Sky Pavilion when he arrived at the location of the signal. However, he found the entrance to a cave. After opening the sea serpent's eye and observing the footprints, Night Sorrow confirmed that many people had entered the cave. However, he wasn't sure what had happened. Should I go in or not? There were no signs of battle nearby, but Zhuang Yuhe's distress signal was indeed sent here. Night Sorrow felt that something was amiss. However, after thinking for a while, he decided to go in and take a look. The people from the Starry Sky Pavilion had a good relationship with him. Now that they were in danger, it wasn't his style to leave them in the lurch. Tianqing Gate Square. Everyone from the Starry Sky Pavilion, including Yun Tianyi, was moved when they saw Night Sorrow's figure appear in the video. Just now, in Zhuang Yuhe's image, they saw Zhuang Yuhe and another disciple being chased by several masked black-robed men. The two of them had released a signal at the entrance of the cave and escaped into the cave. Then, several masked men in black robes chased after them. When the two of them entered the cave, the video crystal had completely lost its effect. Everyone, what's going on with this cave? In the video, Lu Qingyuan, who had just witnessed Night Sorrow killing Wu Li, immediately walked over to the Heavenly Star Pavilion and inquired after Night Sorrow entered the Immortal's cave. Night Sorrow was too important to the Tianyun school. He didn't want anything to happen to Night Sorrow. It's the people from the Starry Sky Pavilion who were chased by several masked men in black robes. They had no choice but to escape into the cave. Yun Tianyi, who was familiar with Night Sorrow, answered Lu Qingyuan's question on behalf of the sect. She also told him about the video crystal in the cave. If I remember correctly, Zhuang Yuhe from the Starry Sky Pavilion is ranked second in the deity group. Now that Wu Li and Meng Du have been killed, there's no one left who can threaten him. This matter is obviously a little strange. Lu Qingyuan judged. It's indeed a little strange. I wonder who these men in black robes are. At this time, an elder from the Starry Sky Pavilion also spoke. Now that Wu Li, Meng Du, Murong Kai-yi, and the other masters were no longer in the Immortal Cloud sealed realm, he really couldn't figure out who these men in black robes were. What's going on? Tan Qingfeng, the clan master of the Tianqing clan, who had been secretly paying attention to the Tianyun clan, also came to the Heavenly Star Pavilion. Sects. The elder who had just explained the situation Sorrows explained. It seems Sky Pavilion is a sect? Who tests BBs? Tianz's? S have to test Tian Sky sects. Sky says SS, gate, sect, S young estits. BB's sects leave now that the 7-sect great competition was about to come to an end. They needed to consider how to return to Tianyun's school. We've been interrogating them, but they're very stubborn and won't admit it's related to the Sky Demon. Tan Qingfeng explained. This sect master suspects that the people of Soaring Heaven sect are either controlled by the Heavenly Demon or have been infiltrated by the Heavenly Demon. In any case, the Sky sect must give us a reasonable explanation. To tell you the truth, Night Sorrow once bumped into the Sky sect's people and summoned the Sky Demon while trembling. Lu and Qingyuan explained the situation to him. It seems that the other 6 sects need to join forces and put pressure on the Sky sect. This matter involves the Sky Demon. We can't let it go. Tan Qingfeng said. What he meant was that the 6 sects should join forces and put pressure on the Sky sect. If it didn't work, they would directly attack the Sky Sect. If the soft approach doesn't work, then we can only use the hard approach. Lu Qingyuan said slowly, conveying the meaning of the divine king Zhuang Qing. As for the Tianyun school, he didn't mention the possibility of being targeted on the way back. The people of the Heavenly Star Pavilion also agreed to deal with this matter. Since both of your sects have agreed to take action against the Sky Sect, I'll contact the people of the other sects. Tianyun School and the people of the Heavenly Star Pavilion both agreed to take action against the Sky Sect. Tan Qingfeng left to contact the people of the other 3 sections. At this time, in the Immortal Cloud-sealed realm, Night Sorrow, who had walked into the cave, used the power of his soul to investigate. As for the people in the Tianqing Gate Square, after Night Sorrow entered the cave, the image in front of them completely disappeared. It was exactly the same as the situation of Zhuang Yuhe and the others. They're fighting not far away. What surprised Night Sorrow was that as soon as he entered the cave, he heard a fierce battle in front of him. He rushed down the long corridor towards the scene of the battle. Rushing to a huge chessboard in front of him, Night Sorrow saw Zhuang Yuhe alone, fighting against 4 masked black-robed people. At this time, he was in a very bad state and looked like he could be killed at any time. Brother Jade River, let me lend you a hand. Seeing that his situation was critical, Night Sorrow immediately rushed into the battle. He was a little surprised that only 4 high gods were suppressing Zhuang Yuhe. Night Sorrow? I didn't expect you to come to die. Seeing Night Sorrow appear, one of the black-robed people sneered. You know me? Night Sorrow felt that the voice was a little familiar, but he couldn't remember it for a while. Of course I know you, because I am Hua Yun Miao of the Sky Sect, and these 3 are my junior brothers. After saying this, Hua Yun Miao simply took off her mask, no longer hiding anything. The people of the Sky Sect knew more about the Immortal Cloud-sealed realm than Night Sorrow and the others, so they knew that the image crystal had no effect here. There is indeed something wrong with your Sky Sect. I won't hide it from you. Qin Wu Mian was killed by me. Night Sorrow stood beside Zhuang Yuhe and confronted the people of Sky Sect. What? Junior brother Qin was killed by you? Hearing this, Hua Yun Miao's brow suddenly overflowed with black qi, and she said furiously, Today, I will take you down and make you a sacrifice for Sir Divine King's revival. A sacrifice for Sir Divine King's revival? The Lord Godly King you mentioned is the extraterrestrial devil that was sealed? Night Sorrow's tone was quite cold. Hua Yun Miao's words proved that he had completely betrayed the god realm and was in cahoots with the heavenly demon. There was no need for such a person to continue living. Yes. And you will be one of the sacrifices. Go take him down. Hua Yun Miao, who was covered in black qi, said coldly. She ordered the other 3 to attack while she attacked Zhuang Yuhe again. She wanted to subdue him as soon as possible so that the 4 of them could deal with Night Sorrow at the same time. He felt that Night Sorrow's defeat of Qin Wu Mian proved that his strength was not bad. You think I can take him down just because you said so? Night Sorrow, who had taken out the reincarnation heavenly halberd, even killed Wu Li, so how could he be afraid of the 4 people of Sky Sect? Chapter 26:16. Yes. I said I'll take them down. Up until now, I've already captured 7 high gods. With you and Zhuang Yuhe, we can set up the 9 underworlds blood sacrifice array. Hua Yun Miao's tone was cold. During the battle with Zhuang Yuhe, he summoned a middle-level Divine Lord Otherworldly Demon. The other 3 people fighting with Night Sorrow each summoned a low-level Divine Lord Otherworldly Demon. Their scheme was to control the 9 high gods and then set up a blood sacrifice formation to break the seal. This was an extremely evil method that was close to success. 9 underworlds blood sacrifice array? You're thinking too much. Don't think that you can do anything with the help of the otherworldly demons. Others might be afraid of the otherworldly demons, but Night Sorrow was not afraid at all. He had the power of merit and was the nemesis of such evil spirits. Furthermore, after the battle with the peerless genius Wu Li, Night Sorrow suddenly felt that the strength of Hua Yun Miao and the rest was not enough. The 4 of them together with the 4 otherworldly demons were probably not as strong as Wu Li and his mount. Do you think that you and Zhuang Yuhe, who has lost his battle strength, can resist the 4 of us and the 4 divine lords? Hua Yun Miao said confidently. In his opinion, his side had the absolute advantage. Otherwise, he would not have exposed his identity. The four Divine Lord otherworldly demons were his greatest reliance. Blind confidence. I'm talking about you. Just Divine Lord otherworldly demons. I'll fight as many as come. Facing Hua Yunmiao's strength, Night Sorrow laughed disdainfully. With such strength, it was laughable to be so arrogant in front of him. Night Sorrow. Hua Yunmiao and the rest are not to be underestimated. Especially the otherworldly demons they summoned. Their battle strength is astonishing. Night Sorrow looked indifferent. Zhuang Yuhe, who was already heavily injured, reminded him. In the previous battle, he had suffered quite a bit and was heavily injured. Furthermore, he did not have the chance to heal himself during the battle. Currently, his battle strength had been halved. Brother Zhuang, your injuries are severe. Why don't you enter my spatial artifact to recuperate? Leave these people to me. As he spoke, Night Sorrow brandished the heavenly samsara halberd and forced Hua Yunmiao, who was attacking Zhuang Yuhe, back. As far as he was concerned, there was utterly no need for Zhuang Yuhe's help to deal with Hua Yunmiao and the others, and he alone was sufficient. Brother Yi, are you completely confident? Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, Zhuang Yuhe's face was filled with uncertainty. Of course I'm confident in dealing with a bunch of trash like them. Night Sorrow looked sharply at Hua Yunmiao. When he said this, Hua Yunmiao's face was filled with killing intent. Then I'll believe in Brother Yi just this once. Night Sorrow was the virtuous feather god, so he wouldn't joke around with his life. Zhuang Yuhe gave up resisting. One roar shaking the mountains and rivers. After putting Zhuang Yuhe into his spatial artifact, Night Sorrow immediately executed the Green Rock soul-rending roar in a 1 versus 8 situation. This was an extremely powerful group attack. With one roar, the mountains and rivers shook. Hua Yunmiao's 3 junior brothers were all stunned on the spot. Their strength was a few levels lower than Meng Du's, so they naturally couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's attack. Second roar shattering heaven and earth. After succeeding with one attack, Night Sorrow didn't give Hua Yunmiao and the others a chance to catch their breaths as he roared out the second move. The strength of Hua Yunmiao's 3 junior brothers' souls simply couldn't withstand this level of attack, and their spiritual seas were completely shattered. The 3 of them didn't even have a chance to retaliate before they were instantly killed. The extraterrestrial demons that they had summoned instantly vanished without a trace. As for Hua Yunmiao, who was slightly stronger, he felt dizzy and his spiritual sea trembled incessantly. Raging flames subduing demons. To execute the Green Rock soul-rending roar, one needed to execute the Treastrimsa battle mystic technique. Night Sorrow felt that there was no need for that. He used the heavenly samsara halberd and struck Hua Yunmiao with raging flames. Hua Yunmiao, whose spiritual sea was already trembling, was burned by the flames of the ancestral phoenix feather. Instantly, his spiritual sea was destroyed, and he became a cripple. The 4 people's spiritual seas were shattered in the blink of an eye, and Night Sorrow didn't even break a sweat. Zhuang Yuhe, who had seen everything, said in a trembling voice, "Brother Yi, your strength, the speed at which you are improving is a little too exaggerated. Before entering the Battle of the High Gods group, I even swore that I would protect you. Now that I think about it, it's really laughable. I was lucky enough to break through to become a mid-level high god, and my strength increased a little." As Night Sorrow explained with a smile, he seized the 4 people's spatial artifacts and released the 7 high gods from Hua Yunmiao's spatial artifact. Night Sorrow. This time, it's all thanks to you. Otherwise we would have been sacrificed. After being released, Mu Qingyu immediately said emotionally, "Thank you for saving our lives." The 6 people from the other sects bowed to Night Sorrow one after another. If it weren't for Night Sorrow's strong intervention, they would have been sacrificed to break the seal of the Divine King-level heavenly demon. Hua Yunmiao and the others' plot was easily broken by Night Sorrow, so they were really grateful. The disciples of these clans had originally looked down on the Tianyun clan, but at this moment, their views had completely changed. This was the respect that Yi Shang had earned with his strength. There's no need to be so polite. The 7-sect great competition should end in a few days, but I think that everyone is injured, so it's better to leave together. Night Sorrow said in a deep voice before continuing, "Compared to this great competition, I think the most important thing right now is to go back and explain the matter of Soaring Heaven sect to the various sect masters and sect masters." Yes. Soaring Heaven sect colluded with the heavenly demon. When I return to Tianqing Gate, I will immediately ask the sect master to punish them. Zhang Yudi of Tianqing Gate said with a face full of anger. Being captured by Hua Yunmiao and almost being used as a blood sacrifice made her feel extremely humiliated. I will also report to the sect master. This time, Soaring Heaven sect has definitely touched the taboo of the God realm. Only destruction awaits them. Zhuang Yuhe said and suggested, why don't we all crush the transfer crystal together? There's no point in continuing to fight in this situation. Good. But let's crush the transfer crystal first. All the points will go to Brother Yi. After Zhuang Yuhe said that, someone immediately crushed the transfer crystal and left the immortal cloud-sealed realm. After him, the others also left one after another. When only Night Sorrow and Zhuang Yuhe were left, Night Sorrow said with a smile, I'm only worth 1 point. Brother Zhuang, you can reluctantly accept it. After saying that, without waiting for Zhuang Yuhe to respond, Night Sorrow crushed his transfer crystal and returned to the square of Tianqing Gate. Night Sorrow, what happened in the cave mansion just now? I can't see the image of that time. Lu Qingyuan, who flew over, asked with concern when Night Sorrow's figure appeared on the transfer array. For disciples of Soaring Heaven sect joined forces and attacked the disciples of other sects. They wanted to control the 9 people and arrange the 9 Netherblood sacrifice array to save the sealed Divine King level heavenly demon. But they were already killed by me. Night Sorrow said casually. Chapter 26:17. Night Sorrow, well done. Did you leave any evidence related to Soaring Heaven sect? Lu Qingyuan continued to ask. I found some evidence in their spatial artifacts. Moreover, only their souls were shattered. Their bodies haven't completely lost their vitality. Experts can use space-time backtracking. Night Sorrow explained. During the battle just now, he thought that the image crystal could be used, so he didn't take out the crystal he carried to record the battle. And that's one way. Lu Qingyuan nodded and continued. In fact, even if we don't have evidence, this time, our 6 great sects are prepared to besiege Soaring Heaven sect and demand an explanation from them. If they can't explain the matter of the heavenly demon, Cloud Immortal Continent will have one less super sect in the future. Good. When dealing with cultivators like them who have lost their bottom line, we should use the strongest means possible. Night Sorrow nodded in agreement. At this time, Si Kongxiang ran over and gave Night Sorrow a big hug, excitedly saying, Brother Yi, congratulations on winning the High God group. You also led our Tianyun school to win first place. Congratulations. Congratulations. You are the new pride of our Tianyun school. Mei Ruoxue also stepped forward and gently hugged Night Sorrow. Ho Qingshan, Yan Zhang, and the others also did the same. They weren't jealous of Night Sorrow at all. Haha, thank you everyone. When today's matter is over, let's celebrate with the people from the other sects. Night Sorrow said with a smile. With the hidden danger of Soaring Heaven sect, they weren't in a hurry to leave Tianqing Gate before they had a good plan. Good. Everyone can drink to their heart's content. Our Tianyun school was able to win the double champion of the Feather God group and the High God group because of Night Sorrow's contribution. Everyone, let's have a few drinks with him. Lu Qingyuan said solemnly. Night Sorrow, thank you. Not only did he bring the championship to Tianyun school, but he also brought respect to the sect. The gate master of Tianqing Gate, Tan Qingfeng, had been very easygoing when he came into contact with Tianyun school in recent days. He was not as dictatorial as he used to be. This obviously had something to do with Night Sorrow. As a member of Tianyun school, this is what I should do. Night Sorrow and Lu Qingyuan exchanged pleasantries before sending a voice transmission to the Divine King Zhuangqing. Thank you, Divine King, for your green rock soul-splitting roar. It's a very powerful AoE attack for me. Haha. I'm already satisfied that you can use it. It's been many years since someone has been able to perfectly control the Azure Rock soul-rending roar. The Divine King Zhuangqing was in a good mood. This time, Tianyun school was not only proud and elated, but also gradually showed a kind of invincible spirit, which made him very happy. All right. Everyone, please be quiet. Right at this moment, Liang Shijun, the vice head of the Tianqing school, cleared his throat and said, after serious and strict calculation, the results of the God group for the 7-sect grand competition are in my hands. Now, let me announce the final results of this tournament. After saying this, Liang Shijun began to read the results. Without a doubt, Knight Sorrow won the individual championship, and Tianyun School won the team championship. Knight Sorrow and Tianyun School also received the baptism of the origin of Yunxian continent. After receiving the baptism of the origin, Knight Sorrow's power of good karma became even stronger. This might have benefited from his handling of the extraterrestrial demons. After the award ceremony, Tianqing Gate, as the host, directly held a celebration banquet at the main peak of Tianqing Gate, Tianqing Peak. During the banquet, the other younger generation were arranged to eat outside the Tianqing Palace. Only Knight Sorrow was invited to the Tianqing Palace to have a banquet with the other sect masters and elders. Knight Sorrow. This time, you have written the most colorful chapter in the history of the Seven Sects tournament. On behalf of Tianqing Gate, I would like to congratulate you. Tan Qingfeng raised his wine glass and toasted Knight Sorrow. At the same time, I would also like to thank you for successfully rescuing Yu Dai and the others. And also for resolving the crisis in the Immortal Cloud secret realm. You are too kind, Gate Master Tan. This is what we cultivators should do. Knight Sorrow raised his wine glass and drank it in one gulp. At this moment, Tan Qingfeng clapped his hands and said, "Come in." Then, a young and beautiful female disciple carried a tray and walked in front of Knight Sorrow. What is this? On the tray, there was a palm-sized black block that looked like a stone or iron. Knight Sorrow could not tell what it was and asked curiously. This is a gift from Tianqing Gate to Knight Sorrow as a thank you gift. Tan Qingfeng said politely. As the gate master of Tianqing Gate, when he spoke to Knight Sorrow, he even seemed to be half a head shorter. You're quite a flexible person. Originally, Knight Sorrow hated Tianqing Gate and Tan Qingfeng very much. But now, seeing that the other party had chosen to give in, he did not care so much. However, he really did not understand the thing in front of him, so he continued to ask, "What is this thing?" Haha. Knight Sorrow, the thing in front of you is very unusual. It is also known as the Dominator Stone, and it is priceless. It is a treasure used to refine Dominator divine artifacts. This time, Tianqing Gate can be said to have bled a lot. The leading elder of the Starry Sky Pavilion explained immediately. What? It is a Dominator material. What does Tianqing Gate mean by this? Even with Yi Shang's meticulous mind, he could not understand why Tianqing Gate would give away such a priceless treasure. He hurriedly refused. Gate Master Tan, this Dominator Stone is too precious. Knight Sorrow has no reason to accept it. Haha. Little friend Knight Sorrow is too polite. The Dominator Stone is the most appropriate thing to give to a genius with the potential to become a Dominator. Don't refuse. Although such a thing is very valuable, we have no chance to use it. Tan Qingfeng said with a smile, putting Knight Sorrow in a very high position. Seeing that Knight Sorrow did not accept the Dominator Stone, he continued, Cloud Fairy Continent is facing constant internal and external troubles. Next, we will carry out a crusade against Soaring Heaven sect. This may attract the crazy revenge of some otherworldly demons. You have the power of virtue, so you may be the backbone of future expeditions. It is not excessive to give you any resources of the 7 great sects. Since Gate Master Tan says so, Knight Sorrow will accept it. In the future expeditions, I will do my best. Tan Qingfeng was also a genius. In Yi Shang's mind, if Soaring Heaven sect was not eliminated, it would be a big disaster for the stability of Cloud Immortal Continent. With his strength, he had no problem dealing with Divine Monarch Realm otherworldly demons. But against the Divine King, it was useless. He really needed to use the Dominator Stone. Knight Sorrow did not refuse. He took the Dominator Stone and put it into his space artifact. He asked, when are we going to attack Soaring Heaven sect? To what extent? Speed is crucial in war. I mean to cut the Gordian knot. Chapter 26:18. I feel that doing so is completely killing the innocent. Moreover, the extraterrestrial demons may infiltrate other sects because of this. In the end, we can't kill all the sects of the Cloud Immortal Continent, right? Knight Sorrow said. He was the least experienced among the people present, but his words carried a lot of weight. After all, this time, Night Sorrow suppressed all the heroes and showed everyone his talent. Even those who had a grudge against him did not object to him taking the seat. Tan Qingfeng heard Night Sorrow's words and thought for a moment. He said worriedly, "In fact, everyone understands the principle, but evil creatures like the extraterrestrial demons are like maggots in the bones. As long as they appear, it is extremely difficult to kill them. This is the biggest problem. I cultivate the power of virtue. As long as the extraterrestrial demons appear, even if they are disguised, I can sense them." Night Sorrow explained, "As long as we take down Soaring Heaven's sect, they will definitely have no place to hide. As for killing everyone in Soaring Heaven's sect, it will be against the harmony of the heavens. There is no need to do so." He cultivated the power of virtue and did not want to cause too much killing. That would go against his conscience. Since little friend Night Sorrow has a way to find the extraterrestrial demons and those who have defected, there is naturally no need to kill. Tianqing Gate sect master Tan Qingfeng said and asked, "What about the other sects? What do you think?" As the host, he felt like he was giving orders, but the current situation was special, so no one cared. "My Heavenly Martial Pavilion swears to fight the extraterrestrial demons to the death." The leader of the Heavenly Star Pavilion had returned to the sect and reported that Soaring Heaven sect had colluded with the extraterrestrial demons. Elder Mei Xinyue, who replaced him, said something to express the Heavenly Star Pavilion's attitude. "My Heavenly Immortal sect will not sit idly by and do nothing to the extraterrestrial demons." Immediately after, the people of the Heavenly Immortal sect stood up. They were not inferior to men at all. After the Heavenly Star Pavilion and the Heavenly Immortal sect expressed their stance, the other sects also expressed their willingness to fight the extraterrestrial demons. As long as the extraterrestrial demons appeared, they had to be killed. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Dark Moon ruler is also very supportive of the campaign against the extraterrestrial demons. He has also expressed that if there is a need, he will personally take action. Tan Qingfeng, who had already contacted the Dark Moon ruler, explained the situation to him before continuing. "Since all the great sects have agreed to deal with Soaring Heaven sect and the Heavenly Demon race, I suggest everyone first turn weapons of war into gifts of jade and silk and resolve their differences. What do you think?" Then, he talked about the conflicts between Night Sorrow, Tianqing Gate, Heavenly Martial Pavilion, and Tianxian School. He said that although Wuyo died in Night Sorrow's hands, they would not hold on to this matter. Tan Qingfeng did this to show his goodwill to Night Sorrow. However, the people of the Heavenly Martial Pavilion and the Tianxian School didn't buy it at all. Apparently, they didn't want to resolve their hatred. Especially Meng Yi of the Heavenly Martial Pavilion. He looked at Night Sorrow as if he wanted to eat him alive. His only son, Meng Du, had died at the hands of Night Sorrow. He definitely wouldn't let this matter go. On the Tianxian School side, the Masters of the Feather God Group and the High God Group had basically all been killed by Night Sorrow. Their attitude was even clearer than that of the Heavenly Martial Pavilion. They opened their mouths and said that some hatred was unavoidable. At one point, the situation became very awkward. Since everyone has some hatred, a hatred of life and death, this Tan won't try to persuade them anymore. Tan Qingfeng saw that the situation was awkward and might even lead to a big conflict, so he said coldly, "However, I want to make it clear here. During the encirclement of Soaring Heaven sect, if someone attacks an ally, then after Soaring Heaven sect is taken down, the next target will be his sect." In this regard, no one objected. Even Meng Yi, who had lost his son, said that he wouldn't attack an ally. However, his gaze towards Night Sorrow was always filled with strong murderous intent. In this regard, Night Sorrow naturally noticed, but he didn't take it to heart. Now that a divine emperor wanted to kill him, it wouldn't be easy. Since no one has any objections to attacking Soaring Heaven sect, half a month from now, at noon, we will gather outside Soaring Heaven sect. What do you all think? The matter of attacking Soaring Heaven sect had been decided, so Tan Qingfeng set a time. Although not all of the people present were sect masters, they could still speak on behalf of their sects, so no one objected to the time he set. At this time, Lu Qingyuan sent a message to Tan Qingfeng, Sect Master Tan. "To tell you the truth, my Tianyun school has been targeted by Soaring Heaven sect, and there is a traitor in my Tianyun school who is likely to have colluded with Soaring Heaven sect. Their goal is likely to be to harm us on the way back." Is there such a thing? Your sect's Grand Elder Zhuang Qing came with you because of this matter, right? Tan Qingfeng remained calm on the surface, but in fact, he was already thinking about how to help Tianyun's school solve this matter. For him, this was an excellent opportunity to build a good relationship with Night Sorrow, so he didn't want to let it go. Grand Elder Zhuang is traveling with us because of this matter. However, even with him, I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with Soaring Heaven sect and the traitor in my Tianyun school, Lu Qingyuan said truthfully. Before coming here, none of them had expected Soaring Heaven sect to openly collude with the heavenly demon race. Now that Soaring Heaven sect was exposed at the 7-sect Great Competition, it was obviously a bit strange. It was likely that after colluding with the heavenly demon race, Soaring Heaven sect's strength had grown tremendously. Elder Lu, don't make this matter public. If what you say is true, it will be a great opportunity for us to strike at Soaring Heaven sect. Tan Qingfeng continued to send a message to Lu Qingyuan. On your way back to Tianyun school, I will send 2 divine kings and 20 divine monarchs to help you. Many thanks, Sect Master Tan. After communicating with him, Lu Qingyuan understood that Tan Qingfeng sparing no effort to help Tianyun school was entirely because of Night Sorrow's face. After communicating with Tan Qingfeng, he told Night Sorrow about this matter. With the help of 2 divine kings and 20 divine monarchs, our road back to Tianyun school will be much safer. Tan Qingfeng, wanting to make friends with my Tianyun school, he has shown some sincerity. Night Sorrow sent a message to Lu Qingyuan. However, he is the kind of person who only cares about benefits. We can cooperate with him, but we can never treat him as a friend. Exactly. This time with help, our road back to Tianyun school will be much smoother, Lu Qingyuan nodded. Soaring Heaven sect daring to blatantly cooperate with the heavenly demon race in front of the other sects. This matter is definitely not as simple as it seems on the surface. We must pay more attention. Perhaps their strength has already reached the point where they can challenge the 6 great sects, Night Sorrow said in a deep voice. Chapter 26:19. Soaring Heaven sect's strength is definitely not that strong, but the heavenly demons might be terrifying. Lu Qingyuan said with a gloomy face. The key is that before this, heavenly demons would only appear on a large scale in Outer Heaven Mountain and Dark Forest. Where did Soaring Heaven sect's heavenly demons come from? I don't know if there's a gathering place for heavenly demons in Cloud Immortal Continent. Night Sorrow thought for a moment before continuing. If there's a sovereign among the heavenly demons, Cloud Immortal Continent will definitely be plunged into misery and suffering. If there's a sovereign, the 7 sovereigns of the God Realm will definitely not sit idly by. Lu Qingyuan was not particularly worried about this matter. He knew that if a sovereign-level heavenly demon appeared in Cloud Immortal Continent, Sovereign Tianai and the others would definitely immediately take action. I'm worried that distant water won't be able to quench the immediate thirst. After all, a sovereign can bleed for thousands of miles with a single thought. Night Sorrow explained. Hearing this, Lu Qingyuan said, if that kind of thing happens, you and I won't be able to solve it at all. It's better not to think too much, lest it affects your Tao heart. Good. You continue drinking with them. I'll go out and meet the younger generation. Yi Shang informed Lu Qingyuan and excused himself from the others. Then, he walked out of the Sky Clear Palace and went to drink with the younger generation. Compared to the dull atmosphere in Sky Clear Hall, the atmosphere among the younger generation was much more lively. Brother Yi, you've also calculated it. Come, let Tianyi toast you. Seeing Night Sorrow come out, Yun Tianyi, who had joined the Heavenly Star Pavilion, immediately raised her wine cup. The others' eyes were all locked on Night Sorrow. After the 7-sect grand competition, he had become one of the most popular figures in the 7 sects and could stand shoulder to shoulder with many legends. Haha, good. Let's drink until we're drunk today. Night Sorrow responded with a smile. On the way back to Tianyun school, there was likely to be a big battle, so Night Sorrow wanted to relax. As for the others in Tianyun school, they were in a good mood because they won the double championship in the 7-sect grand competition. None of them drank less. Even Mei Ruoshua's cheeks were red from drinking. Night Sorrow, can you come out for a chat? When the banquet was about to end, Night Sorrow suddenly received a message from Murong Kai-yi. Senior Sister Tsai, what's the matter? Yi Shang used sound transmission to reply. Follow me. Murong Kai-yi said and then took the lead to leave the banquet and walk out of the courtyard. Seeing Murong Kai-yi, whose cheeks were already red from drinking, leave, Night Sorrow was actually a bit embarrassed. He guessed that the other party would probably mention something about a man and a woman. He already had a family and several wives, so he didn't want to get involved with women. However, out of courtesy, he still stood up and walked out of the courtyard. Where is he? When Night Sorrow walked out of the courtyard with a perturbed mood, he didn't see Murong Kai Yi's figure. After that, he continuously searched the surroundings, but he didn't see the other party's figure. He couldn't help but feel puzzled. If you want to save Murong Kai Yi, then follow me. Remember, don't call anyone else. Otherwise, I will immediately kill him. At this time, a masked man in black suddenly appeared in front of Night Sorrow. After saying a sentence, he stood up and flew away. This person can subdue Murong Kai Yi in a moment. His strength is certainly not ordinary. However, saving people is more important. I can't care so much. Night Sorrow didn't think much and directly chased after him. According to his judgment, the other party certainly didn't have the confidence to immediately kill him. Therefore, he used Murong Kai Yi to lead him somewhere. Because if the other party was the tyrannical divine king, he wouldn't need to talk nonsense. He would just directly kill him after appearing. With this thought, the confidence in his heart immediately grew. He is so familiar with the Tianqing Gate. He should be someone from the Tianqing Gate. Night Sorrow, who had used the Void Extreme Shadow Body to chase after the man in black, judged that the other party was from the Tianqing Gate and immediately became puzzled. After all, now that the Tianqing Gate's Gate Master Tan Qingfeng no longer targeted the Tianyun School, he didn't know who would dare to risk being punished by the Gate Master to deal with him. A formation? Night Sorrow, who was following the other party, chased for a while and found that the man in black had entered a formation. He stopped outside. He started to use the Eye of the Sea Serpent to check the formation. With this, Night Sorrow judged that the formation in front of him was an ordinary Divine Emperor level formation. He was completely capable of breaking it, so he followed without hesitation. I didn't expect you to really dare to come in. When Yi Shang entered the array, the black-robed man immediately stopped in his tracks. Where is Murong Kai Yi? Night Sorrow looked at the man in black and asked. From the other party's aura, Night Sorrow could see that he was a high-level Divine Emperor. In the face of a high-level Divine Emperor, he wasn't completely powerless and appeared very calm. She is in the depths of the formation. If you can defeat me, you can save her. The man in black said coldly. Unfortunately, you don't have the chance to defeat me. My thoughts are the exact opposite of yours. Night Sorrow, whose eyes were filled with determination, took out the Samsara halberd and held it in his hand. Before you die, I'll let you know the truth. I am Wu Yu's guardian. You killed him, and now I'll kill you. It's very fair. The man in black smiled maliciously and took out a war saber from his spatial artifact. This war saber exuded an evil killing intent. I don't care who you are. My purpose here is to save someone. Night Sorrow replied coldly. Then, he used the Samsara halberd and attacked the man in black with the Samsara strike. Child's play. Next, I'll let you understand the true difference between a Divine Emperor and a Divine Emperor. The black-clothed man responded to Night Sorrow's Samsara strike with a strike of his saber. As far as he was concerned, even though Night Sorrow had won the 7-sect Grand Competition's upper god group, his true cultivation level was only that of a mid-level high god. He was several levels lower than a high-level divine lord like him, so he definitely wouldn't be a threat. However, when the two clashed, he was surprised to find that the situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Although he was fine after taking Night Sorrow's attack, countless cracks had appeared on his war saber. If he took another blow, it would probably shatter completely. Very good. The divine artifact in your hand is very good. It can be used by me. The man in black was at a disadvantage, but he was not angry. He felt that Night Sorrow was able to gain the upper hand because of the Samsara halberd in his hand. He laughed sharply and a strong killing intent suddenly erupted from his body. He gathered his divine origin energy and attacked Night Sorrow with a unique skill. Heart-killing poison hand. After hesitating for a while, Night Sorrow did not use the Treya battle secret skill. Instead, he used the Samsara palm of the void to fight with his opponent. He wanted to test his true combat strength. Boom! With a loud sound, The two of them once again ended up in a tie. However, at this time, Night Sorrow saw an obvious black gas in his palm. If you are hit by my heart-killing poison hand, there is no cure. You can just wait for your death. When the man in black saw the black gas in Night Sorrow's palm, he laughed confidently. Isn't it just some dark aura? What is there to be afraid of? In the face of the black chi, Night Sorrow used the power of merit to disperse it. I forgot that you are a body of merit. So what if you disperse the black gas? What awaits you is still death. Chapter 26-20. The array that had been set up long ago was activated in an instant. Night Sorrow immediately felt a strong suppressive force that made it difficult for him to circulate his divine essence. The method used to set up this array was not exquisite, but the effect was not bad. Hee, how do you feel? The man in black's voice was filled with pride and indifference. He always felt that a divine lord was stronger than a high god. It's nothing much, because your formation is nothing to me. Night Sorrow shouted and used the Trayastrimsa battle mystic technique. He used the Samsara halberd to shoot out the raging flames demon at the center of the array. The core of the array was destroyed, and the array that had just been activated immediately lost its effect. Forbidden Spear. Divine Essence Dragon Lock Array. After breaking the array, Night Sorrow immediately shot out the Forbidden Spear and used the Divine Essence Dragon Lock Array to restrain the man in black who wanted to escape. In an instant, the trapped man in black was hit by the Forbidden Spear before he could break out of the sealed space. His entire right arm was shattered by the Samsara halberd. Little bastard, what kind of technique is this? The man in black did not watch Night Sorrow's battle at the 7-sect tournament, so he did not know what the Divine Essence Dragon Lock Array was. After suffering a loss, his expression changed drastically. Earth-shattering roar. Faced with the man in black's questioning, Night Sorrow directly used the green rock soul-rending roar to respond, causing the man in black to bleed from his orifices. How can this be? He's clearly just an intermediate high god. The man in black was bleeding from his orifices and roared in disbelief. At this point, he still thought that there was a difference in strength between him and Night Sorrow. If you want to deal with me, just come at me. Those who touch my friends will die without a doubt. Night Sorrow roared and used the second move of the green rock soul-rending roar, earth-shattering roar. Night Sorrow, who had not used the Trayastrimsa battle mystic technique yet, shouted the third roar, break Samsara. Wu Yu's Path Protector's divine soul was immediately shattered. The black-clothed man still wanted to say something, but Night Sorrow used his halberd to take his life. A friend was a sore spot. Yishan wasn't polite to him at all. After dealing with Wu Yu's guardians quickly and efficiently, Night Sorrow completely broke the formation. Sure enough, he saw Murong Tsai trapped in the depths of the formation. Are you okay? Night Sorrow asked. At this time, Murong Kai was somewhat startled. Seeing Night Sorrow rushing over, she calmed down. She said, You saved me again. Thank you, Night Sorrow. I didn't do it on purpose. Since she was caught, the effects of the alcohol had probably worn off. She did not mention the question that Night Sorrow was afraid of. Instead, she was worried that Night Sorrow would blame her for this. It's my fault this time. They came for me. Night Sorrow said in embarrassment. The other party had come because of Wu Yu, so naturally, it had nothing to do with Murong Kai. Alas! I can only hold you back. Murong Kai's face showed a trace of helplessness. At the same time, she also figured out some things. Not long after, Tianqing Gate sect master, Tan Qingfeng, and others heard Night Sorrow's roar and rushed to the scene. After learning the cause and effect of the matter from Night Sorrow, Tan Qingfeng said, Take back the mountain that Wu Yu obtained and dismiss all his servants. Plotting against Night Sorrow in Tianqing Gate would definitely affect the relationship between the two sects. This was something he could not tolerate. After this small interlude, the banquet finally came to an end as the sky was about to brighten. The next day, each sect left Tianqing Gate one after another to return to their sects to call for reinforcements. They were ready to besiege Soaring Heaven sect. When it was Night Sorrow's turn to leave with Tianyun School's cultivators, Tan Qingfeng suddenly sent a message to Lu Qingyuan, This king and Grand Elder Fan will send you back to Tianyun School. Sect Master Tan, won't this delay your handling of the sect's affairs? Lu Qingyuan immediately responded. He was not used to Tan Qingfeng's enthusiasm. It's fine, in any case, we need to hurry to Soaring Heaven sect. This sect master will lead all the elites of Heavenly Clear sect to accompany you to Soaring Heaven sect's location. With the two sects together, there was no need to worry about anything else. Tan Qingfeng said. The elites of Tianqing Gate acting as bodyguards for Tianyun School was a treatment that no one else had ever received. Good. In that case, our two sects will go to Soaring Heaven sect together. Lu Qingyuan did not dislike having people from Tianqing Gate as bodyguards, but he felt that this would make Night Sorrow owe him a favor. When communicating with Tan Qingfeng, he asked for Night Sorrow's opinion, and Night Sorrow did not object. When Tianyun School's group appeared on the deck of the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle, Tan Qingfeng had already taken the elites of Tianqing Gate to hide in Lu Qingyuan's space artifact. This lineup was even more powerful than what he had promised. Night Sorrow, what are you thinking about? When the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle flew in the direction of Tianyun School, Lu Qingyuan saw Night Sorrow standing on the deck. His thoughts drifted and he asked. I'm a little worried about my family in the sect, Night Sorrow answered truthfully. The only thing that could make his thoughts unsteady was his family. Now that most of Yuan Tianji's powerhouses were on the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle, the sect was very empty. He was a little worried that the other vice-sect master, Ho Jun, would make a move. Night Moon Dynasty's people were all on the mountain peak where Yuan Tianji was. If something happened to him, the Night Moon Dynasty's people would definitely be the first to be implicated. Lu Qingyuan, who knew what Night Sorrow was thinking, comforted him. Don't worry, Ho Jun is a suspicious person. He won't make a move easily. Otherwise, we wouldn't have sent so many divine monarch elders. I hope so. Night Sorrow nodded and continued to open the sea serpent's eye to observe the situation ahead. After the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle had traveled for half a day and passed through a stretch of ruins, Yishan suddenly warned, Stop, there's an ambush ahead. What's going on? Lu Qingyuan, who had stopped the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle, immediately asked. Someone has set up a trapping array on the road ahead. If we rashly move forward, we might be trapped. Night Sorrow explained. He had seen this with a sea serpent's eye. Haha. Lu Qingyuan, I didn't expect you to be so alert. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, a figure flew down from the clouds. Ho Jun, what are you trying to do? Lu Qingyuan immediately asked angrily when he saw the appearance of the person who had come. This person was none other than the vice-sect master of Tianyun School, Ho Jun, whom he and Night Sorrow had been discussing. Haha, what am I trying to do? Of course I'm trying to cut off your right-hand man for Yuan Tianji, Ho Jun said with a fake smile. Then he growled, All of you come out. As soon as his voice fell, more than 30 divine monarchs with divine artifacts appeared in front of the Heavenly Cloud Shuttle. Only a small half of these cultivators were from Tianyun School. Night Sorrow, who had begun to observe these divine monarchs with the sea serpent's eye, warned, At least half of these people have the aura of extraterrestrial demons. Everyone be careful. Hearing this, Lu Qingyuan immediately rebuked angrily. Ho Jun, not only are you colluding with Soaring Heaven sect, you are also colluding with extraterrestrial demons? Do you know how much damage extraterrestrial demons do to the God realm? These things have nothing to do with me. I only have one goal, and that is to defeat Yuan Tianji and take the position of sect master. Chapter 26-21. Don't leave anyone alive? Ho Jun, you have completely lost your mind. Has your mind been corrupted by the extraterrestrial demons? Ho Jun's evil and cold words made Lu Qingyuan, the elder of Tianyun School, shudder. He used to be a little extreme in his actions, but now he had completely fallen into madness. There had never been such a person in Tianyun School since ancient times. Lu Qingyuan felt very angry and felt that this was a disgrace to the sect. Lost my mind? Haha, no. I have only comprehended the truth. Only killing can bring new life to the Cloud Immortal Continent. Only killing can cultivate a new ruler for the Cloud Immortal Continent. Ho Jun's eyes flashed red. This was no longer the state of a normal cultivator of the God realm. It was a sign that he had completely fallen into the demonic path. Ho Jun has been completely influenced by the power of the extraterrestrial demons and has fallen into the demonic path. Everyone, be careful. Night Sorrow, who had activated the Eye of the Sea Serpent, could see that Ho Jun had absorbed a large amount of evil power and his mind had been affected. Over time, he had finally fallen into the demonic path. Don't worry. He won't be able to cause any trouble today. The Divine King Zhuangqing, who had been hiding in Lu Qingyuan's spatial Dharma artifact, suddenly came out and snorted coldly. Ho Jun's performance had really disappointed him, the Grand Elder. If Night Sorrow and Si Kongxiang hadn't accidentally bumped into Ho Jun's communication with the outside world, the consequences might have been unimaginable. Perhaps the future of Tianyun School would have all died in the hands of Ho Jun. Zhuangqing. Old man, do you think you can reverse the situation just because you appeared? When he saw the Divine King Zhuangqing appear, Ho Jun, who still had a crazed look on his face, berated him coldly. Ho Jun, if a man wants to die, he must first go crazy. Today, I will kill you with my own hands and clean up the Tianyun School. The Divine King Zhuangqing was one of the Grand Elders in Tianyun School that everyone respected. In the past, even the sect master had been very respectful to him. Now that he was being insulted by Ho Jun, he could no longer control his anger and immediately attacked Ho Jun. Zhuangqing. Do you think you are the Divine King? As he spoke these words, an astonishing amount of Divine King energy suddenly burst out of Ho Jun's body. It turned out that he had already successfully broken through to the God King realm from the half-step God King realm. Judging from his aura, he was even stronger than Divine King Zhuangqing. No wonder he was so arrogant. St. It seems that you have completely sacrificed your dignity and bottom line for strength. The Divine King Zhuangqing, who was already fighting with Ho Jun, shouted. Only the strong have the right to talk about dignity. Ho Jun, who was fighting with the Divine King Zhuangqing, shouted angrily when he saw that the others didn't move. What are you waiting for? Wash the heavenly cloud shuttle with blood for me. Yes, Sect Master. Yes. Demon Envoy. The 30 overseer gods behind Ho Jun responded and immediately surrounded the heavenly cloud shuttle. Their imposing manner was extremely shocking. Most of them, like Ho Jun, had absorbed the evil energy. The only difference was the amount they had absorbed. Night Sorrow, it's time for us to show up, right? Seeing that more than 30 Sir Gods under Ho Jun were surrounding the heavenly cloud shuttle, the sect master of Tianqing Gate, Tan Qingfeng, immediately sent a telepathic message. He didn't ask for Lu Qingyuan's opinion. Instead, he contacted Night Sorrow directly. Obviously, he valued Night Sorrow more. According to Tan Qingfeng's judgment, since Ho Jun had led so many Sir Gods, the people of Tianqing Gate should have shown up. Otherwise, the people of Tianyun School would definitely be suppressed. Sect Master Tan and Grand Elder Fan, don't come out to deal with the strong enemies. The Sir Gods can send 20 people to help us. Night Sorrow replied. He couldn't see if there were people hiding in the dark with his sea serpent's eye, but he felt that since Ho Jun was called the Demon Envoy, he must have colluded with the extraterrestrial demons. Maybe there would be extraterrestrial demons on the level of the Divine King. Okay. Since it's Night Sorrow's idea, we'll cooperate. Tan Qingfeng chose 20 Sir Gods who were good at fighting and communicated with Lu Qingyuan to let them go out to fight. In addition to the original 20 Sir Gods, Night Sorrow's side had more Sir Gods than Ho Jun's side. However, more than 40 Sir Gods were fighting with more than 30 Sir Gods. The situation was very chaotic, and it was hard to tell who had the upper hand. After the battle began, Night Sorrow put Mu Qingyu, Si Kongxiang, Mei Ruoxue, and the others into a spatial Dharma artifact. He himself joined the battle. A little high god dares to join the battle of Sir Gods? You're really reckless. Night Sorrow's opponent was a middle-level Sir God. After confirming that Night Sorrow's aura was only that of a middle-level high god, he showed a look of disdain. You're just a middle-level Sir God. What right do you have to be arrogant? Facing this middle-level Sir God from Tianyun School, Night Sorrow showed no mercy. He took out the Samsara halberd and used the Samsara strike on his opponent. The current him could already fight a high-level Sir God. The power of his spear was very shocking. What? So strong? Facing Night Sorrow's Samsara strike, the middle-level Sir God's expression changed. He had never imagined that he would be facing Night Sorrow, who was ranked 3rd on the High God list. In the eyes of the people from Tianyun School, the High God disciples of Tianyun School were all useless. Only Mu Qingyu was barely passable, but compared to his elder brother, Mu Baiyu, he was nothing. As for the results of this year's grand competition and Knight Sorrow's strength, they were still unclear. Instead of lamenting, why don't we think of a way to dodge? In the face of Knight Sorrow's attack, this middle-level Divine Lord was actually a little distracted. As a result, his movement technique was slightly slower. The heavenly Samsara halberd ruthlessly struck his abdomen, shattering his dantian. Knight Sorrow, who had succeeded in one strike, used the Samsara halberd to pierce his opponent's spirit sea. Amazing, Brother Yi! A middle-level Sir God was killed by you in one strike. No wonder you're the champion of the High God group in the 7-sect grand competition. Mu Qingyu, who was hiding in Knight Sorrow's spatial artifact, had never seen Knight Sorrow fight before and was shocked by his strength. Haha, Brother Mu, you flatter me. This opponent was obviously distracted. Otherwise, he would have been able to take one strike. As he spoke, Knight Sorrow raised his head and used the sea serpent's eye to watch the battle. Seeing this, Knight Sorrow was slightly surprised. Although the Tianyun School and Tianqing Gate's allied forces had the advantage in numbers, they were suppressed. The Sir Gods under Ho Jun and some of the cultivators from Soaring Heaven sect all had powerful dark auras in their bodies. With the support of this heavenly demon aura, their combat strength had multiplied. In a situation of 30 against 40, they had a certain advantage. This won't do. Chapter 26-22. Knight Sorrow felt that as long as the extraterrestrial demons didn't appear, the two divine kings, Tan Qingfeng and Fan Xianyun, shouldn't act rashly and alert the enemy. Glancing at the divine king, who was clearly being suppressed by Ho Jun, Knight Sorrow directly activated the 33 Heavens battle technique and madly shouted the 3 moves of the Green Rock soul-splitting roar. However, he didn't attack Ho Jun. Instead, he attacked the many divine lords on Ho Jun's side to relieve the pressure on his side. Knight Sorrow knew that with his strength, he wouldn't be able to affect the divine king at all. This was an insurmountable level suppression. Roar shakes mountains and rivers. Roar shatters heaven and earth. Roar shatters reincarnation. Knight Sorrow, who had activated his strongest combat power, roared the Green Rock soul-splitting roar that the divine king had taught him. The situation instantly changed. Many of the cultivators on Ho Jun's side felt their souls tremble. Even if they didn't tremble, their minds were still greatly affected. It greatly affected their attacks. Many of the divine lords slowed down a lot. It was this small change that allowed the Tianyun School and the Tianqing Gate coalition army to catch their breath. Lu Yuming, go and kill that god. Ho Jun, who noticed that Knight Sorrow's roar had affected the battle, immediately sent a message to a high-level divine lord to kill him. What a powerful aura! When Ho Jun's subordinate, Lu Yuming, flew in front of Knight Sorrow discovered that he was extremely powerful. He judged that this Lu Yuming wasn't an ordinary high-level divine lord. He should be about the same level as Ho Jun, an outstanding figure who had absorbed a large amount of evil energy. I didn't expect that the declining Tianyun School would have a god of your strength. Lu Yuming held his spear and floated in front of Knight Sorrow. He praised and said arrogantly, "Now you have 2 paths in front of you. The first is submission, and the second is death. I choose to kill you." In the face of Lu Yuming's threat, Knight Sorrow replied disdainfully. It was impossible for him to submit. At this moment, Tan Qingfeng sent a voice transmission to Knight Sorrow from his spatial artifact. "Little friend Knight Sorrow, do you need help?" He could feel Lu Yuming's strength and was afraid that Knight Sorrow would not be his match. "There's no need for that for now. Although he's strong, I have the power of virtue protecting me. It shouldn't be a problem for me to fight him." If Lu Yuming could reach his current strength without absorbing the evil energy, then Knight Sorrow would definitely not be his match. But the problem now was that he had absorbed the evil energy, and Knight Sorrow happened to have the means to restrain it. "You chose to let me die. Very good. I admire your confidence." Lu Yuming was not angry when he heard Knight Sorrow's words. Instead, he laughed. In his opinion, Knight Sorrow was completely blindly confident. The evil energy gave Lu Yuming strength. It made him feel that as long as a cultivator below the Divine King's level, they would not be his match. "It's too early for you to admire it. Look at the surprise I've brought you." As he spoke, Night Sorrow directly shot a forbidden spear at Lu Yuming. At the same time, he activated the Merit Dragon Lock Array and trapped him inside. Lu Yuming, who could not react in time, was unable to break out of the trap array. Night Sorrow's heavenly Samsara halberd struck his chest. If not for the outstanding defensive robe on his body, he would probably end up like the middle-level feather god just now. Very good. I have indeed underestimated you. But you can't kill me with just this. Lu Yuming roared in the trap array. He completely activated the evil energy in his body and used the spear in his hand to launch a frenzied attack on the Divine Essence Dragon Lock Array. His strength was indeed extraordinary. Soon, he completely destroyed the Divine Essence Dragon Lock Array. Take my unstoppable thunderbolt. Lu Yuming, who was holding a spear, was actually at a disadvantage in the hands of a high god. He immediately flew into a rage and attacked Night Sorrow. He was originally an expert among the high-level divine lords. Later, he absorbed a large amount of evil energy, and felt that he might even be able to enter the Divine Lord list and become an invincible Divine Lord. Very sharp spear techniques. If not for Night Sorrow cultivating the Sea Serpent's Eye, he would not have been able to see through Lu Yuming's move. Now that he saw through it, he immediately realized the exquisiteness of this unstoppable thunderbolt. He immediately studied it and blasted an identical move at his opponent. Of course, just like before, his unstoppable thunderbolt was mainly of the Samsara attribute. Boom! Night Sorrow's Samsara attribute unstoppable thunderbolt clearly suppressed Lu Yuming's thunder attribute. However, Lu Yuming's divine essence energy clearly had the advantage. The two of them were basically evenly matched. How do you know unstoppable thunderbolt? Lu Yuming asked in disbelief when he saw Night Sorrow use unstoppable thunderbolt to neutralize his attack. Before you die, I'll naturally tell you. Night Sorrow used the Samsara Heavenly Halberd again and blasted out unstoppable thunderbolt. Then, he blasted out the Virtuous Dragon Locking Array at Lu Yuming. Using the power of virtue to construct a sealed space was the greatest nemesis of evil creatures. Lu Yuming, who had absorbed the evil energy, was trapped in the Virtuous Dragon Locking Array. The evil energy in his body was constantly purified. His body became much weaker in an instant. He could not even make a move to resist the attack, let alone break the array. Night Sorrow's spear struck his dantian. Puff! With his dantian shattered, Lu Yuming's vitality immediately weakened a lot. He completely lost the ability to resist. He was defeated so suddenly. This made him feel extremely incredulous. However, he knew that it was useless to say anything now. He could not use his divine essence energy. He was an absolute cripple. All he could do was wait for death. I can see through your moves. As for purifying the evil energy in your body, that's the effect of the power of virtue. At this moment, Night Sorrow's voice appeared in Lu Yuming's mind. Just as he heard these words, Night Sorrow pierced his divine sea and completely destroyed his divine soul. Using the power of virtue to instantly weaken Lu Yuming's strength and make him enter a weakened state was the key to Night Sorrow's easy victory. Little friend Night Sorrow's methods are indeed shocking. I, Tan Qing Feng, am extremely impressed. Tan Qing Feng, who was in the spatial artifact, had been paying attention to Night Sorrow's battle. When he saw him easily defeat Lu Yuming, he immediately praised him. Night Sorrow's ability was truly strong. Tan Qingfeng's praise came from the bottom of his heart. In response, Night Sorrow said politely, I have the power of virtue. It just happens to be the nemesis of evil energy. Otherwise, I wouldn't have one so easily. The power of virtue is not simple. You can rely on it to prove your Tao, Tan Qingfeng said enviously. The power of virtue was simply the nemesis of all evil. Moreover, its power was extremely shocking. People could not help but be envious. I will walk this path. Night Sorrow, who had finished collecting Lu Yuming's spoils of war, said and once again entered the battlefield. How could Lu Yuming be killed by a mere high god? Who can tell this sect master what's going on? Ho Jun, who was suppressing the divine king Zhuangqing, immediately asked angrily when he realized that Lu Yuming had been killed by Night Sorrow. Chapter 26-23. Sect Master, that exalted god used the power of merit to seal Lu Yuming in a formation and defeated him. One of the monarchs hurriedly replied. Usually, Ho Jun was the sect master, so he did not dare to add the word vice to his title. The power of merit. When did such a genius appear in the Tianyun school? While Ho Jun was fighting, he could not help but size up Night Sorrow to see if there was anything special about him. At the moment, Night Sorrow was already engaged in battle with the other divine lords. With the support of the power of merit, he had a natural counter to these cultivators with evil power, so he was able to fight them with ease. You are indeed not simple, a rare talent. You can be subdued and used by me. Ho Jun saw Night Sorrow's performance and shouted, "How did you do in the 7-sect grand competition that just ended?" My ranking has something to do with the Tianyun school. It has nothing to do with a traitor like you who has joined the extraterrestrial demons. Yi Shang snorted disdainfully in response. No matter how strong Ho Jun was, he was not worth mentioning in Night Sorrow's eyes. As a cultivator, he did not even hold the most important bottom line. How dare you? How dare you talk to me like this? I think you don't want to live anymore. No matter how talented you are just an exalted god. Ho Jun was instantly enraged by Night Sorrow's ridicule. I originally wanted to keep you alive and use you for myself. Now it seems that you brought this upon yourself. I, Night Sorrow, would rather be used by pigs, chickens, cows, and sheep than be used by trash like you who betrays my Tao heart. Night Sorrow responded bluntly to Ho Jun's threat. He was the opposite of Ho Jun. He would never betray his Tao heart for power. Exalted God Ant, since you are courting death, don't blame me for not using my talent. Ho Jun was completely enraged. Under Night Sorrow's influence, they were gradually losing the upper hand. He threw a huge millstone into the void and blasted a big hole. He looked up to the sky and shouted, "Come out, all of you come out." After roaring, Ho Jun let out a sharp, ear-piercing laugh. Everyone saw countless extraterrestrial demons crawling out of the big hole. Among them, there were at least 1,000,000 exalted gods and about 100 divine lords. There was even a divine king-level extraterrestrial demon. Demon Envoy Ho Jun, you are finally willing to open the passage and allow us to descend. The extraterrestrial demons led the extraterrestrial demons immediately let out a sinister laugh. Coupled with Ho Jun's shrill laughter, it made people shudder with fear. Devour these ignorant cultivators, don't leave a single one alive. Ho Jun ordered coldly as he looked at the divine king-level extraterrestrial shelter from the cold. In his opinion, he already had 2 divine king on his side. With such strength, he could completely crush the opponent in front of him. Good. We, the Sky Devils, have been silent for too long. It's time for us to drink blood again. The divine king-level shelter from the cold revealed a cold smile. Trash like you want to act like a tyrant in the cloud celestial continent? Truly laughable frogs in a well. He looked at Ho Jun and shelter from the cold's Night Sorrow with disdain. Merit deity? When the divine king-level shelter from the cold saw that Night Sorrow actually had the power of merit, he immediately ordered, "Kill this merit deity at all costs. Otherwise, he will become a great threat to our race in the future." Yes. Hearing shelter from the cold's order, the 100 or so divine lords and divine king under him all exploded with intense killing intent. Being targeted by so many divine lords, even Night Sorrow couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle. At this moment, Night Sorrow's Treastrimsa battle mystic technique's effect ended and the backlash came. He immediately swallowed 2 pills. After his strength recovered, he transmitted, "Sect Master Tan, you can all come out now. We have 3 divine kings on our side and only 2 on the other side. Although we are at a disadvantage in terms of numbers, we will definitely win easily." Yes. The divine king killing divine lords is like a grown man bullying a baby. Tan Qingfeng replied and transmitted his voice to Lu Qingyuan, "Let us out. We can start the battle now." Since the other side had already used their trump card, there was no need for them to hide anymore. Good. This time, we really have to thank Sect Master Tan. Otherwise, the elites of Tianyun School might have been completely wiped out. Lu Qingyuan said gratefully. No matter what Tan Qingfeng's purpose was, he had still helped them a lot. Ha ha ha. Elder Lu, don't be so polite. From now on, Tianqing Gate and Tianyun School are on the same side. It's only right that we support each other. Tan Qing Feng laughed and came out of the spatial artifact. After he appeared, he looked at Shelter from the Cold, the leader of the extraterrestrial demons, and said, "How dare you, extraterrestrial demons, appear in Yunxian continent in broad daylight and act so presumptuously? Do you really think there is no one in Yunxian continent? Upper Divine King?" Seeing Tan Qing Feng appear, the Divine King of Shelter from the Cold's arrogance immediately weakened. It was a middle Divine King and was obviously much weaker than Tan Qing Feng. "Sect Master, don't waste your breath on these beasts. Just kill them all." At this time, Tianqing Gate's Grand Elder Fan Xianyun also came out of Lu Qingyuan's spatial artifact. In addition, all the elite divine lords of Tianqing Gate also appeared. At this moment, all the trump cards that Night Sorrow had prepared had been revealed. Such a lineup was obviously more luxurious than Ho Jun's. People of Tianqing Gate, don't you have a deep grudge against Tianyun's school? Why are you getting involved in this mess? Ho Jun, who originally thought that he had the upper hand, was dumbfounded. Although he had the evil power and was very crazy, he couldn't help but be stunned when he saw the huge difference in strength between the two sides. He didn't expect that Tianqing Gate would send so many masters to follow Tianyun's school. If not, he was confident that he could kill Zhuang Qing, Lu Qingyuan, and the others. Tianqing Gate and Tianyun's school are both orthodox Yunxian continent, and we won't tolerate your impudence. Attack! Tan Qing Feng didn't waste any time. He immediately gathered his divine origin energy, took out his divine artifact, and attacked the Divine King of Shelter from the Cold. Yes. There's no need to talk nonsense with them. Just kill them all. Tianqing Gate's Grand Elder Fan Xianyun agreed and rushed into the group of divine lords like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Good job. Tan Qing Feng and Fan Xianyun attacked one after the other. Night Sorrow didn't stay idle either. He shouted and used the reincarnation heavenly halberd to unleash the inferno demon-slaying technique, burning the million-strong army of extraterrestrial demons. Half of the divine lords of the extraterritorial demons were burned by the flames that were tainted with the ancestral phoenix's energy. Chapter 26-24. These god-level extraterritorial demons had an extremely evil aura, but after being converted into the power of virtue, it was an extremely pure and holy energy. After absorbing the energy of hundreds of thousands of extraterritorial demons, Night Sorrow's power of virtue increased significantly, and he was one step closer to becoming a high god. This feels great. If I absorb the remaining hundreds of thousands of god-level extraterritorial demons, my power of virtue will have a chance to become a high god. This will increase my strength very quickly, but there are no side effects at all. It seems that my path will require me to constantly kill these evil creatures. After absorbing the power of virtue from so many god-level extraterritorial demons, Night Sorrow could not help but feel enlightened. The extraterritorial demons that everyone in the realm of gods feared were the best resources on his path of cultivation. They could help him increase his power of virtue, and then use it to prove his Tao, which would then lead to other aspects. All extraterritorial demons, heed my command. Kill the high god who slaughtered our race at all costs. Seeing Night Sorrow burn hundreds of thousands of extraterritorial demons to death, the Divine King of Shelter from the Cold crazily ordered. Extraterritorial demons were evil, cold-blooded, murderous, and had a strong desire for revenge. In the eyes of the Divine King of Shelter from the Cold, they would not retreat if they did not kill Night Sorrow today. Shelter from the Cold, I will help you kill this high god ant. After Shelter from the Cold gave the order, the other extraterritorial demons did not react. Ho Jun, who was fighting with the Divine King of Zhuang Qing, took out a bronze cauldron that emitted an evil aura from his spatial artifact. After the bronze cauldron was summoned, it immediately flew toward Night Sorrow, wanting to suck him in. Oh no! This is the Divine King's power. I can't resist it. The bronze cauldron was very fast. After being summoned, it immediately flew to Night Sorrow's location and was pulled in by a strong suction force. Night Sorrow felt immense pressure. In the face of such a king-level divine artifact, his ability to resist was negligible. My friend Night Sorrow, don't be afraid. I will help you. I was too slow, please forgive me. Just as Night Sorrow was about to be pulled in by the wicked bronze cauldron, Tianqing Gate Master Tan Qing Feng flew from the side with a long sword in hand and slashed at the energy pulling Night Sorrow. After being struck by this sword, the energy that was tearing Night Sorrow apart was immediately severed. Haha! You demons, still want to cause trouble at this moment. All of you, surrender yourselves. Tan Qingfeng didn't stop after cutting off the pulling force of the evil bronze cauldron. He kept attacking the cauldron. Although this copper cauldron was a king-grade divine artifact, in the face of a high divine king's attack, it could only flee and fly back into Ho Jun's hands. Night, I have them, I and it, of it. It of the of them of God of them. Now that they are trapped by the king-level formation, not many can escape. After repelling Ho Jun's king-level divine artifact, Tan Qingfeng explained to Night Sorrow that his plan was to catch them all in one fell swoop. That was why he had been a little slow. Good move, Master Tan. You don't have to take care of me. Leave all of these evil creatures behind. The aura of the extraterrestrial demons was very evil. It was more evil than any creature Night Sorrow had ever seen. He sent a message to Tan Qingfeng. Then, he once again used Inferno Demon on the remaining God-level extraterrestrial demons. Ignorant child, how can we let you succeed again? Seeing Night Sorrow use Inferno Demon once again, the Divine King-level extraterrestrial shelter from the cold, who was already prepared, shouted coldly. He waved his hand and used a Divine King-level energy to dissolve the Inferno Demon. After neutralizing Night Sorrow's Inferno Demon, Shelter from the Cold also attacked Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was helpless against a Divine King-level attack. At that moment, Tan Qingfeng once again blocked the attack. Then, he sneered, "Shameless extraterrestrial demon. As the Divine King, you actually dare to attack a high god. You extraterrestrial demons really have no bottom line. Your opponent is me. Let's fight." But despite what Tan Qingfeng said, he blocked Shelter from the Cold's attack. Then, he waved his hand and used a Divine King-level attack on the extraterrestrial demons. Then, when Shelter from the Cold tried to stop him, he swung his sword at his opponent. After all, Tan Qingfeng was a Divine King. He wasn't far from becoming a half-step ruler. He was very powerful. His casual attack felt like it could destroy heaven and earth. Shelter from the Cold had originally wanted to stop Tan Qingfeng from slaughtering his subordinates, but in the end, he chose to protect himself instead. Extraterrestrial demons didn't have a shred of kindness in their nature. How could they sacrifice themselves to save others? Boom! Tan Qingfeng's attack was unstoppable. It instantly killed all the remaining high gods. After succeeding, he laughed heartily. Extraterrestrial demons, you truly don't care about your companions. Life forms like you have no reason to exist. Today, all of you will die here. The roaring Tan Qingfeng was the strongest person present. While fighting against the Divine King-level extraterrestrial Shelter from the Cold, he was always looking for opportunities to attack the Divine Lord-level extraterrestrial demons and whittle down their numbers. As an upper Divine King, his casual attack was equivalent to the attack of a Divine King-level Divine Talisman. It wasn't something these Divine Lord-level extraterrestrial demons could block. Before long, he had personally killed more than a dozen Divine Lord-level extraterrestrial demons. This kind of result was even greater than that of Grand Elder Fan Xianyun, who specialized in fighting extraterrestrial demons. This was the difference in strength between an upper Divine King and a lower Divine King. Damn it! Damn it! Cultivator of the Heavenly Realm. You deserve to die. In the future, my Celestial Demon Clan will definitely send someone to kill you. Shelter from the Cold, who was fighting against Tan Qingfeng, already had a ferocious expression on its face. It had originally descended to the Heavenly Realm to drink blood and slaughter. It hadn't expected to encounter 3 Divine King-level characters. Moreover, one of them was an upper Divine King. This was an existence it couldn't resist at all. At this point, on the extraterrestrial demon side, only Ho Jun, who was fighting against the Divine King Zhuangqing, still had a slight advantage. Under the suppression of Tan Qingfeng and Fan Xianyun, the other cultivators and extraterrestrial demons didn't have the ability to fight back at all. What a reckless waste of natural resources. If only I had killed all of them. On the other side, Yi Shuang felt slightly envious when he saw the 2 God Kings kill the various outer realm celestial demons. This was because he was not the one who killed the celestial demons, so they would not turn into power of virtue and fly towards him. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow swallowed a few elixirs. After recovering his body's condition, he immediately activated the secret battle technique of the 33 heavens, instantly increasing his strength tenfold. When the two divine kings on the enemy side had no time to worry about him, he used the green pung soul-splitting roar that the divine king Zhuangqing had taught him. First roar shakes mountains and rivers. Second roar shatters heaven and earth. Third roar shatters reincarnation. Chapter 26-25. If he could kill a few of them, the amount of power of merit he would gain would definitely be considerable. When he was threatened by Ho Jun's evil bronze cauldron, Knight Sorrow realized that he was too weak. He had to increase his strength as soon as possible. Otherwise, there was a possibility of him dying in the battle against the extraterrestrial demons. After all, the divine king of the extraterrestrial demons did not care if Knight Sorrow was a high god. They were purely bloodthirsty and could devour any deity realm cultivator. It's effective. Very good. Looks like my casual roar must have killed 2 deity realm extraterrestrial demons. After using the green rock soul-splitting roar, Knight Sorrow soon saw 2 extremely powerful golden power of merit rushing toward him. He absorbed the 2 power of merit and felt very comfortable. It was similar to the feeling of being baptized by the origin source of the Cloud Fairy continent. Knight Sorrow, be careful of the enemy's attack. Just as Knight Sorrow was distracted for a moment, Tan Qingfeng's voice suddenly sounded. Knight Sorrow was shocked. He opened the sea serpent's eye and realized that 3 invisible Sir God-level extraterrestrial demons were creeping toward him while he was immersed in absorbing the power of merit. If Knight Sorrow had not opened the sea serpent's eye, he would not have been able to see these invisible extraterrestrial demons. Tan Qingfeng had been using the power of his god's soul to cover Knight Sorrow during the battle. Therefore, he could tell that the extraterrestrial demons were coming from the energy waves in the air. Thank you, Sect Leader Tan. I can handle these 3 God-Lord-level otherworldly demons myself. You can just focus on dealing with that God King-level otherworldly demon. Although Knight Sorrow used to hate Tan Qingfeng, he felt that although this guy's character was not good, he was not careless at all. After thanking him, Knight Sorrow looked at the 3 extraterrestrial demons creeping toward him. These 3 extraterrestrial demons had the strength of a high god and their auras were much stronger than ordinary deity realm cultivators. However, Knight Sorrow, as the high god of merit, had a natural counter to these evil creatures. He was not afraid at all. Inferno demons subduing. Using the sea serpent's eye to determine the figures of the 3 otherworldly demons, Knight Sorrow immediately used blazing flame subduing demons. After being burned by the flames, the 3 extraterrestrial demons completely revealed themselves. Knight Sorrow, let me help you. At this moment, Lu Qingyuan, who was fighting with the other divine lords, finally noticed that an extraterrestrial demon had crept up to Knight Sorrow. He shouted and prepared to rescue him. At this moment, Knight Sorrow stopped him. Elder Lu, don't worry. I can deal with these 3 heavenly demons myself. What? You're preparing to deal with 3 high-level divine lord-level otherworldly demons by yourself? Are you sure? Upon hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Lu Qingyuan was immediately taken aback. He felt immense pressure when dealing with otherworldly demons of the same level. He felt that otherworldly demons of the same level seemed to be stronger than divine world cultivators of the same level. Knight Sorrow actually wanted to deal with 3 high-level divine lord-level otherworldly demons as a middle-level high god. This made him feel that Knight Sorrow was risking his life. Elder Lu, Knight Sorrow is not a reckless person. These evil creatures don't pose much of a threat to me. 3 otherworldly demons sneaking into our camp is completely an opportunity for me to increase my strength. After explaining, Knight Sorrow held the heavenly Samsara halberd horizontally in front of him and struck out with unstoppable thunderbolt at one of the high-level divine lord-level otherworldly demons. Although this unstoppable thunderbolt was mainly of the Samsara attribute, it contained a trace of the power of thunder and was extremely effective against evil creatures like otherworldly demons. The high-level divine lord-level otherworldly demon that Knight Sorrow had locked onto instinctively wanted to dodge in the face of unstoppable thunderbolt. However, at this moment, Knight Sorrow used the merit dragon locking formation and immediately trapped it inside. Accompanied by a rumbling sound, the heavenly Samsara halberd struck out with unstoppable thunderbolt and blasted into the sealed space. The otherworldly demon that was trapped in the sealed space by the power of merit had been constantly purified and its strength had clearly decreased significantly. How could it still have the ability to resist unstoppable thunderbolt? It was instantly smashed into pieces. However, the high-level Divine Lord level otherworldly demon's vitality was extremely tenacious. Although it was smashed into pieces by the heavenly Samsara halberd, this otherworldly demon did not turn into the power of merit and was not completely dead. Samsara strike. Seeing that this otherworldly demon was not completely dead, the other two had already launched attacks at him. Yi Shang immediately used the Samsara heavenly halberd to strike the Samsara strike into the sealed space. The extraterrestrial demons in the trapping formation were instantly annihilated by the Samsara strike. They turned into golden power of merit and flew towards Yi Shang. Demon Envoy Ho Jun today, I must definitely kill this cultivator with the power of merit. If I don't get rid of him, he will definitely become a huge threat to my heavenly demon clan in the future. Seeing that Night Sorrow had actually managed to kill a high-level Divine Lord level otherworldly demon with the strength of a mid-level Divine God in a 1-on-3 situation, Night Sorrow's cold eyes flashed with cold light. The Divine King level otherworldly demon Shelter from the Cold, who was fighting against Tan Qing Feng, said savagely, "Use your secret technique and help me hold off this high-level Divine King for a moment. I have my own ways to deal with that God-level ant." "Alright. I'll try my best." Hearing Shelter from the Cold's telepathic message, Ho Jun glanced at Night Sorrow and then took out the evil bronze cauldron from his spatial artifact. This evil bronze cauldron was after all a king-level divine artifact. Although it was unrealistic to use it to kill Tan Qing Feng, it could still be useful if it was just to trap him for a moment or two. Oh no. They want to deal with me. When Ho Jun glanced at Night Sorrow, he suddenly felt as if his body had fallen into an ice cave. He had a very bad feeling about this. "Don't worry. Night Sorrow, my young friend. I will protect you. Just focus on the battle." As Night Sorrow felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave, Fan Xianyun suddenly sent him a telepathic message, telling him not to panic and to continue the battle. In the battle just now, Fan Xianyun had not attacked Ho Jun or Shelter from the Cold because he was waiting for an opportunity. At this moment, he could see that Ho Jun and Shelter from the Cold were plotting something and wanted to deal with Night Sorrow. Thinking that this was a good opportunity, he secretly took out a long flute from his spatial artifact. Although it was a flute-shaped king-level divine artifact, it looked similar to a dagger and gave off a sharp, cold aura. "Thank you very much for your care, Grand Elder Fan." The people of Tianqing Gate had taken good care of him, so Night Sorrow had basically erased his past unhappiness. After all, the extraterrestrial demons were now the real enemies of the heavenly realm. He had no reason to stay in the past and be unable to extricate himself. After replying to Fan Xianyun, Night Sorrow continued to fight against the other two extraterrestrial demons at the level of a senior deity. With the experience of dealing with the first one, Night Sorrow fought against the other two. Although it was dangerous, he handled every part of the battle perfectly. With the help of the Eye of the Mirage Dragon, he was able to turn danger into safety every time. The two extraterrestrial demons that faced Night Sorrow's attacks were quickly injured. Just as Night Sorrow used the virtuous dragon locking spell to bind one of the extraterrestrial demons, he finally killed it. A cold smile suddenly appeared on Ho Jun's face. He controlled the evil bronze cauldron and blasted it toward Tan Qing Feng, who was fighting Shelter from the Cold. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.